so professional looking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it looks like a fucking video game, like for real. And
Well, I assume if they were taking any money, it would, like, the hammer would come down.
yeah, I'm sure that they probably don't want to. Blizzard and Activision probably don't want to take any negative press on this before WoW Classic comes out because, well, again, we'll get into this on the podcast. I don't want to.
I've started the stream.
The stream started.
Yeah. Let me give you your controls.
Okay.
I see the stream. Okay, I'm here.
All right. Let me.
So this thing that TJ's drinking, it's an Arnold Palmer. I can't say that word. Arnold Palmer.
Palmer.
It's actually really
It's
difficult.
tea and lemonade, but then it's a boozy version, so it's like 3 drinks in one.
Yeah, the one that we had, at John's when I was up there.
Oh,
that was really good. This
yeah,
one's a
that
bit
twisted
more.
tea.
This one's a bit more malty.
I got a Lift Bridge Brewing Company's Juice Z NE IPA, which either stands for Northeast IPA or New England IPA, depending on who you ask.
Never IPA.
NEPA.
Yeah. All right. Let's
It's just like
let's get levels.
insanely drinkable. It's like, and it's only like 5%, so
Okay.
I won't get too fucked up.
I'm
All right, here we
5% too, but I will.
All right. Let me just get this. Is John talking.
Go ahead.
Hey, this is your boy Matt.
Yep, that's
that
me
bell.
too.
All right. I think we sound pretty good. I don't know if TJ, if you want to listen as well, because if Matt listens, it becomes a nightmare, as I noticed when I was editing the last
Yeah.
episode, which still isn't up yet.
We're about to
but
start. Oh, what's up?
I got it mostly
Which show?
edited. Ugh.
Stole somebody else's car on accident.
We're watching Live PD.
Oh, nice. Oh, I listened to
We're watching a cartoon.
I listened to the This American Life about Live PD.
What,
An episode
Oh,
about
they're
that.
watching Gumball still, I think.
what is
Yeah,
Live
Amazing World
PD?
Gumball is kind of weird.
It's like Cops, but they don't have to ask for your permission to show you on camera.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a test. I'll go ahead and listen.
Okay. Well, this is
Quickly.
John talking.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I like
And, that,
potatoes.
and that's me too.
Halo 5. Oh, I can hear him listening.
All right, we're good.
I
think
think
we're
we're good. It sounded pretty good when I
Yeah.
listened to it. I just wanted a second pair of ears on it. So.
What I could hear coming out of
Um,
TJ's headphones, it sounded good to me.
That was through my computer speakers, then back through my mic.
It sounded very, very distant.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god. I need to get a drink as well, actually, because I.
God damn it, John.
I need to
What?
savor this orange vanilla because it's delicious. Go get your drink, John. You're fine.
I am. I'm just looking at some Twitch loot.
Okay.
Fucking Twitch loot sucks ass. I finally got something to kick my Call of Duty habit, and that's World of Warcraft, which is like trading
It's the original
heroin.
drug.
It's like trading heroin for or heroin for what is it? Not heroin's World of Warcraft. It's like trading like Oxycontin for heroin.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I was on the new drug, the new opiate, and now I'm back on the old shit.
You on that?
The fentanyl laced heroin.
Mm,
I'm about to OD.
no, fentanyl is like some mobile game or something.
Oh,
Where it's just
fentanyl.
extremely-
Yeah.
Extremely,
Cookie clicker.
Yeah, cookie clickers, fentanyl.
All right, I'll be back.
I should put links up. I should get links in places. This is not easy to chug.
I picked up a DJ Hero controller for $4 at Goodwill, and I ripped it apart.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It looks like this feels really nice, and I think I
is
can
nice. It's
wire
got
it
nice
into
action.
to control
Yeah.
something. Just like the smoothness of like.
I mean, it does have like motion one way, motion another way in its sensing.
Okay.
Because it definitely knows wiki woo.
Yeah.
And then the buttons do button stuff. So
I'm guessing it's odor. So, like,
Matt, do you have a
direction
noise?
sensing and stuff would be like all software.
Matt, do you have a noise gate on?
Yeah,
Because
I
you
think
sometimes
so.
cut in or slightly cut out. Bring it down just a bit. Not that much, just a little bit. I don't know.
Boom.
I don't know if it's something you did because of the air conditioner, but
Just
Double fist and spot house. right
vocal processing plugin that I've used, but it does have
Wait,
a gate on
Vocaloids?
it.
I don't know if it's just me, but Matt tends to be cutting, like slightly cutting in his talking and cutting out a little early. I'm wondering if he has a noise gate on. Tell him
Oh,
to bring the
Check,
threshold down
check.
just a little bit. That's better.
Yeah, I haven't changed it. It's pretty much right at where my air conditioning's noise level is. So if
Matt,
I was,
how long does beer last before it tastes bad?
it depends on the beer and the storage conditions.
What about spotted cow in the fridge?
Probably fine.
Should be
From
okay.
like March?
Yeah,
You should be fine. I mean,
people.
does it smell skunky?
No,
No,
You're fine.
it smells
the
like
things
beer.
you need to worry about is like temperature changes and light.
Yeah.
So if it's
light
been in my
burns.
fridge for
Yeah.
like 3 months, it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the flavor will change, but some beers get better with age, some get worse. Mostly
it.
it like
Well,
If
I
it was-
assumed
if it was like an IPA, like the bitterness would fall away and it would just get
would
less
taste better.
intense. Yeah, if that's what you want. Like usually the flavors don't get worse; they just get more
just mellow.
muted. Yeah.
Fair enough. Unless you have like light beer and then it turns into like skunk.
I
So you drink
saw
it anyway because you're a college kid.
I saw Bud Light when I was at Target,
Yeah.
and they advertised that it's made with rice right on the package. I was like,
Yeah, I
they used to hide that.
No, so like
Now
they
it's a selling point.
Yeah, because they don't. Well, they're like, we don't use corn syrup. It's like, okay.
Well, you're not supposed to use that or rice.
Well, no. I mean, you can use corn syrup to make beer. Like
I was
okay,
wondering if like the rice
a-
made it gluten friendly, but I think the barley is also has gluten in it.
100%. Yes, it has
Okay.
gluten in it.
So it's not like trying to capitalize off
This
of that
is
because
like-
it was right next to some White Claw.
beer making is like 80% my wheelhouse now because the food products that I work with are fermented as well.
That's awesome. I got
But-
a Mr. Beer kit for Christmas that I
Yeah.
haven't broken out yet.
Yeah, and so like I know all about fermentation. Like corn syrup is fine. Corn syrup is just dextrose syrup from corn. Like it's just sugar.
Yeah.
Like when you
And
think about it,
it
like
just gets eaten up by the yeast and boosts the alcohol content,
it's
right?
the same thing with the rice. Like the rice is just being broken down into the sugars in it, and then it's eating the sugar. So
Oh, really?
there's no real difference. Like it's just sugar. That's all that the fermentation microbes want to make their carbon dioxide.
But I thought that rice was used to supplement, to use less barley and malt, and it
Very
ends up-
possible. It's the difference. is
So it
that
might just be the absence of the other ingredients that makes it taste boring. If
Yeah.
you add rice to it, you're adding
I-
rice as like a shortcut.
I guess. I mean, like, there's a lot of rice beers out there. Like, I think a lot of the Japanese beers use rice. Yeah, Kirin's made with rice, Sapporo, Asahi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But it doesn't really make a difference because you just need a grain, to feed the little bacterias.
this might be something I should ask off air, but
Yeah.
if you have any recommendations for a good company to buy probiotic supplements from,
Oh,
let me know because I know
I can't take that one on air.
Yeah,
I mean, I can. I
Because,
can tell
like-
you all of the ones that we supply here. That all
because I want
DuPont
something that I'm
supplied-
guaranteed to get what I'm expecting in it, and something that's not going to be just like a bunch of dead probiotics or filler.
Well, I can't give too many recommendations because I don't actually work with the probiotics teams. But we use cultures that the probiotics team makes to make the product that I use, but no.
I'll take my answer off air.
I would say no. I can tell you it's
Okay.
It's of good probiotics brands. I'm gonna Google it and see how many of these I recognize, and I can tell you. Because I can give you a couple real. I mean, I hope the stuff that we make is good.
I hope so too.
I'm
If
pretty
not,
sure
you'll
Align
hear-
is
I'll write a letter.
good. So I guess the one that I use. So this isn't even saying. I guess is it weird? I mean, I'm not like getting sponsored by this or anything, but the one I use.
The only thing would be like if you have some kind of NDA through work or something.
Absolutely not, because I'm just going to talk about the products you can buy right on the shelf. I use Renew Life Ultimate Flora Probiotics. I have a bunch of bottles in my fridge. So Renew Life Ultimate Flora. That's a
I
good
think
brand.
I've seen that package before.
The one I use. So what's in it? I don't know. I just know that it's good.
Okay.
And I've been told it's a good one by people that would know. That makes sense.
That's good. Because my guts are always fucked up, and I figure maybe that
Oh
would
man,
help.
that's me too, man. I had the ulcer like 2 years ago, and now I can't eat anything. Like,
I'm worried that I might have an ulcer.
do you have like a throbbing pain in the middle of your chest, or like right below your sternum, basically?
Not really, but like if I eat rich foods, then like the stomach pain is almost immediate.
That's getting old, man.
Okay.
It's your
I don't.
It's your pancreas and liver not being able to deal with it.
Good.
Because like when you eat like greasy stuff,
let's drink to
your
that.
liver starts releasing the enzymes that are gonna go and digest it, and that's just how it happens. So
when you take your
but-
probiotics, do you ever think about the fact that if you were to die that day, those are the things that will digest your body?
Can I tell you? I'm gonna get I have to say a really weird thing right now, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the weird thing welcome to Born in the 80s?
No,
This is still preamble.
I want this to
I
be
know.
I'm gonna put the camera on though and just show the starting screen
Please.
logo.
I want this to be pre-show.
I'm gonna pre.
I don't know what has happened with what I've eaten, but my bathrooms, my number twos, smell very garlicky all the time now.
Have you been eating garlic?
I mean, no more than usual.
Maybe you just lost the ability to digest garlic, so it comes out fully
Just comes
garlic.
out full fresh.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing, and it's just a thing. Like, obviously, my gut flora have changed a little bit, and so now it's like that's a weird thing.
About 4 months ago, I was taking a dump at work.
Oh God. So this is pre-show.
Is that
Let's
the
begin
last
the
time you
pre-show.
Yeah,
dumped?
it's fine. Yes. Yes, the last time I dumped. No. And it had the color, the visual texture, because I'm not going to touch this thing, and the scent of perfect green Play-Doh.
Wow.
Did you eat one of those Halloween Whoppers?
That's so
No,
good.
I did not.
The worst is like when you have like a really bad, like I had some, again, like I was talking about my digestive situations now are just like, the days back in the past when I used to hang out with Adam and we would order like a glass nickel pizza and we'd each house half of it and then just like fucking eat candy and shit and drink like fucking sodas and just be fine. Now if I were to do that, my stomach hurts when I eat stuff like that, and it sucks. And now, now I
especially
take
because all that
fucking-
stuff's delicious.
And now I'm like taking probiotics every day. And I'm taking a Metamucil every day. You know, I'm just trying-
I've been on the Metamucil train off and on.
My mom was like, please stop talking about your poop. I was talking about Metamucil. Metamucil, man, is the best shit. Like
It is,
as I started taking it when I
but-
had my ulcer.
I had to take it with like Beano, just because
Yeah.
until
Oh.
you get used to that much fiber, it fucks your shit up. Literally.
It can cause a lot of gas, yeah. But
But then eventually you get used to it.
yeah.
And the
so
great thing about Metamucil is they have like capsules, so you don't have
can.
to actually taste it.
Oh, I don't mind the taste. Actually, like I have an orange one that I got from Costco that
Yeah, well,
fine.
they're all like orange flavored, which is weird. If it was just like neutral plant flavor, I'd be fine with it.
I don't mind the orange flavor.
I
But
don't
the
like artificial orange flavors.
I actually have oh God. I put probiotics in there. I have this probiotic that I don't even know. It's from Korea. Don't worry about it. I got.
Is it
we get-
kimchi?
We get free stuff from work all the time. But it's a powder that you're just supposed to pour into stuff. They market it like to pour it on top of your cereal or on top of yogurt to like boost the bacteria load in it. And so I actually just pour that in my daily cup of Metamucil.
There was
So
like
it's like a
last
full-
year, there would be times where I just binge on. When I was working at the farmers market, I'd binge on like kimchi and fermented pickles,
yeah.
and like for a couple of days after that, my stomach would just be like operating top notch. Everything
Yeah.
works great,
You
but
get the
then
good- get
it
the
doesn't
good-
last.
Yeah, you get the good microbes in there. Yeah, but then if you don't keep re-upping, they just eventually you're
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's no guarantee that if I put the good microbes
Yeah.
in, that they'll outcompete
Nope.
the bad.
well.
So I need
Yeah.
to like kill all of them and then put good ones in.
Oh, don't do that.
And I think that's a fecal transplant.
Possibly, they do. Oh my God.
Welcome to
We're
Poop Talk.
talking about poop. Fucking Christ. God, man. Yeah. Just a couple weeks ago, I had a really bad one. It was just like gray. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like no bile, basically. My stomach hurt. That was the worst. Those are the worst.
The
I can
best
tell.
is when you have a surprising like ghost poop where
Uh-huh.
there's just no evidence of the poop that happened. You don't.
Oh, I know.
Nothing shows up in the
Are
toilet
you,
paper.
Are you talking about the
it
one that just
sinks.
slips instantly down the drain?
Yeah.
And you're just like, I could have swore I went. or the ultimate perfect clean wipe poop.
Oh yeah.
It's impossible.
Yes.
Anytime
You're
I
just
get
like-
a clean
the
wipe,
best.
it's like
You're
I've
just like-
won the lottery.
You're just like, what the hell? I just came out and went right in the water and didn't touch anything.
And then you're like,
so-
is this how it's supposed to be all the time?
yeah,
What am I doing wrong?
yeah.
So I heard that all bile is green,
Yeah.
and it sits in your bits, and that's what turns it brown. So if you ever have green poos, it means that stuff's moving too quickly.
Yeah, yep, that's 100% right.
So how do you stop that?
How do you stop that?
Yeah, like what is that a symptom of? It's just
Well, I don't think green poos are necessarily bad.
okay.
I don't think green poos are necessarily always meaning it went fast, because there's some foods that you eat that will change the color to green.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, black, like really black stools is like, okay, there's some bleeding going on inside. That's a real
Or
something you got to keep.
it
Or
means
you had some
Pepto.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, like I had a
Things keep color.
like a month or so ago, I was having more stomach problems than usual, and I was taking Pepto regularly, and
Yeah.
those poops were black as night.
Oh yeah, it'll do that. It says it right on the bottle though. It's like, just so you know, this will discolor your stool. Oh man.
And
That
then
was,
if the worst is if I ever have beets, and then
Yeah.
like I'll pee out red,
Yeah.
and I'll think I'm dying for half
Yeah.
a second.
Oh my god. So I had a UTI back in college, and it wasn't. They didn't like culture it as a UTI, but I had pain, so they just gave me some tablets that turned my pee like, what is it? Like the icy orange color orange, and they're like, it'll discolor it, and it would stain like very easily anything. So
You
I
gotta be
was just
careful.
like,
That's the kind of thing that killed Grumpy Cat.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, UTI.
I think so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think mine was actually. It was probably just a minor bladder infection. Just something they gave me, because I was like basically peeing like every hour. I just feel like I had to pee all the time.
Yeah. Were you worried that you had diabetes?
Yeah, at age like 22, I was like, man, I got diabetes type 2. No.
Well, that's
the
like
doctor-
my cousin had the kind of diabetes you get when you're a kid, and that's how
Yeah.
they figured it out. She was on vacation, and she couldn't reach the sink, so she kept asking her parents for water. And her mom's a nurse, so she was like, "This seems wrong."
No, I mean, they check your blood sugar and they're like, that looks pretty normal. So, like, you probably have some sort of weird. Oh man, medicine.
Your
is the
blood's
weirdest.
normal. It is black, but
Yeah, the way, man, this was a thing when I took a college course in, not Nat and Phys. I forget what it was. It was a medical course. But they talked about the guy was a doctor. It was an honors class that was, like prenatal. It was like it was human development biology is what it was called, and I took it. Let's start the podcast. Welcome to Born in the 80s, episode 356. I'm your host, John Rowe, joined by my co-hosts.
Matt Hag.
TJ May.
Hi. Sorry, I was in the middle of a conversation in the pre-show, and then I thought, you know what? This should probably be on the show because we've been talking about...
Tune into the live show for lots of poo talk.
It'll be after the credit. It'll be after the credits, so you'll get to hear it. So I took a course in college called Human Development Biology. It was an honors course, and I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I was like, this is going to be like how humans evolved and stuff, like learning all that jazz, and it was a class about actually like how fetuses develop in the womb. So I was
and this
way
was
off.
at a Catholic or Dominican school, so it was like, and this is why you can't murder these babies.
No, not at all. That Edge was not like that at all. But or at least I don't think it was. Then again, I'm not a woman, so I have no clue. But the class was really good, and they taught the guy was a doctor, and he was just like telling us about like the hospital. And he's just like 75% of all people that come in end up with whatever is happening to them being undiagnosed, because there's just
really,
like, it's well, if you think about it like the ocean, like the knowledge of our human bodies, if you think about it, really only started taking off in like the early 1900s. So we have like 150 years maybe of knowledge about the most complex organism, one of the most complex organisms like in the world. We don't even have like, fruit flies figured out all the way yet. You know what I mean? And so the idea is that, like the ocean, we only have explored so much, and we know a lot about it, but there's just so much we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times when you come in, you're not feeling well, and they're like, it's probably some virus that will go away in 3 days, or you'll die. It's one of the two things. Like, there's such like a roll of the dice. It's like, we just don't know. Like,
I imagine like when you're in the doctor's office, every time the doctor leaves the room, they're just like, fuck, I don't know.
No, I know. And that's the way it is. I mean, a lot of the really common stuff, is pretty easy, but there's just stuff that's just like, like the issue I have with my leg going numb. They're just like, it's
probably
happening.
cancerbetes.
There's nothing wrong with you that they can tell based on the scans they took. They took an MRI of my brain, which is awesome. I got to see pictures of my brain. The doctor showed me the pictures.
Yeah.
It's the big brain. It's the best brain. Just so you know.
Did you need to zoom in a lot to see it?
Hey, you got me. It was funny, too, because I called my dad afterwards, and I was like, they confirmed that I do indeed and have a brain in my head.
That's the thing. That there was a dude that got an MRI only to find out that most of his brain was gone.
Yeah.
And he was like a fully functioning adult, but like most of his brain had dissolved and turned into water.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's exactly. See, we know so little about how our bodies work. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of those things that's like, if we knew everything, we would be able to cure everything.
Well,
but we
even
don't.
more so with brain stuff. It's just like, just physiologically, we don't know a lot. And then when you get into what that means as far as function, we're just like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually kind of incredible because it's like the brain is so, it's just a giant mass of neurons that all control literally everything that you do. And we know kind of the places that do control it, but it's weird because you can lose part of your brain and other parts will pick up slack sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like so unknown as to how exactly it all works. So, or you could be someone who only has half of a brain because the other half dissolved into water.
Yeah. Or you could
still-
be
you don't even know.
somebody who had the corpus callosum cut to cure seizures, and you have two brains inside of your head that don't communicate with each other.
Yep. Yeah, there's just some weird stuff.
Oh, I've heard about that. That is messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like if you show something to one of the eyes and ask the person to say, like, whichever side of the brain controls speech, if it's not the eye that corresponds with that, they won't be able to say it, but they'll be able to write down what they're seeing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that, like, nobody really knows what's going on with you. They're just like, it's fine. You're fine. You're going to be fine. And that's the thing you learn when you get, like, over the age of 30 is that, like, just parts of your body just stop working.
Yeah. It's just like, you'll be fine until you die, and then, yeah, whatever.
It's kind of a thing. Yeah, it's kind of a thing that, like, happened when I was, I don't know, maybe like 26, 27, when I started having tingling in my feet, and the doctors couldn't find a cause.
Yeah.
And they're like, your blood sugar is, like, still within the normal range. You know, it's in the higher half of the normal range, so maybe, you know, you should keep an eye on it.
Is it something that just happens all the time? Or
all the time.
Because, like, with me, it's if I ever cross my legs, they'll immediately go to sleep.
Oh.
And I assume that's some kind of, like, nerve pinch thing.
Yeah, I have that, too. My arms and legs fall asleep super easy. And so they're just like, you probably just... It's just you know, it's, was it neuropathy without a cause? Without an assignable cause, which is like 70%
but is it neuropathy if it's not? Isn't that pain?
It can be pain or it can be tingling or numbness. It's anything really. They said if it is pain, I can like do stuff about it, but it honestly
idiopathic neuropathy.
It isn't really that bad. But they were just like, it's that, and so like I've come to accept that it's never going to go away, and I'm just the way that my body's going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks, but what can you do? It's not that bad.
I'm going to probably have a stiff, sore back for the rest of my life, no matter how many times I shock it with the little, like, trans-epidermal nerve stimulation thing.
Yeah, so that's the advice I give to anyone listening who's not old. Don't get old.
Yeah.
Just kill yourself.
It's better to burn out than fade away.
No. So
that's actually part of the advice I've been given to everyone at work is don't get old, don't get married, don't bring kids in this hellscape.
Yeah.
But
well,
no. Okay, go ahead.
One of those you can undo. Is the thing, without like being charged with murder.
So
okay, I mean, yeah.
So we no. So what the thing is that you realized I was talking to everyone else is that this is the peace and solace that I found is that it's the way everybody is. Everybody has some fucking shit going wrong in their body by age 30. So
well, even like if according to surveys, body acceptance of your body peaks at like 60, and that is basically when it's all breaking down. So like you will break down, but you won't give a shit about it. Is the thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's the thing. You just realize, you feel like, oh, I'm getting old, but you just have to think this literally will happen to every single person.
I think it's the youth that are wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, John. It's the children who are wrong.
So it's funny that we're talking about pathies, and in my feed, this just comes up. So this is going to affect probably the most of our listeners, but about 48% of the Y chromosome having population. If you feel really cold, but your balls are hanging normally, congratulations, you probably have a fever.
Really?
Because normally, if you get chilly, your testicles are gonna try to get closer to the body.
So that's your cue that it's not an actual temperature change in the room; it's just something internal.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
If you feel really cold, but your balls are hanging normally, congratulations, you probably have a fever.
So, like, when your mom puts her hand on your head, she should be holding your balls.
So
exactly.
Wait, what's the song? If your balls hang low
and they wobble to and fro, and you tie them in a knot and tie them in a bow.
No, so that's interesting. That's why the doctor tells you to turn your head and cough. No, that's check for
fever.
When that happens, do you ever have trouble doing like an artificial cough?
I will say the absolute worst thing ever that happened to me, and then Lance talked about this on a podcast a while back. It's a damn it, it has a hot for doctor. It was called, and he had a younger female doctor check for hernia, and when you're like in your like high school teens,
It doesn't take much, and it doesn't take much. Your body's going to do things, and I'm sure they see that all the time, so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like
as a teenager, you don't.
They
think
probably
that.
keep like a chart in the break room and compare scores.
You know what the funny part is the doctors will say they absolutely talk about that shit. So
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like that's the
But-
thing with HIPAA. You can bullshit with other physicians. You
Correct.
just can't tell the general public about stuff.
correct. Well, because you have to be able to talk to the other physicians to get second opinions and
Yeah.
come up with things. But it's just kind of funny because like it's like they talk about that, but also like, dude, every doctor has seen so much shit that whatever you
Literal
have
shit.
hang up on your body or think is weird about you, they've seen 10 times worse. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
That's why I wonder with like doctors if you just start to see people as piles of meat.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor at one point, but then it was too hard.
Yeah, I thought about it for a while. I bought Grey's Anatomy, the book, not the DVD set,
Yeah.
and it was cool, but also like I just don't like school that much.
I bought the DVD set because I just have a thing for Sandra Oh. Okay, she's very, very attractive. Anyway, no, I don't know. To me, the thing is that I realize that I think I probably, and this is maybe me just being like justifying my decision of being like I could probably do this, but I would hate it.
Sorry, I just saw something really funny on Twitter.
Oh, you just were laughing at me.
Yeah,
And you think I can't? You think I can't do it?
I don't think you can.
I don't think I can.
Isn't
Either now,
so?
But
This is who posted this?
thank you.
Eric
Listen
Andre
to live Twitter.
Retweeted it. It's Peggy, Steve, why aren't you laughing? Bill Cosby is so funny, and Steve just looking down and sad.
I think my favorite thing is the meme with that little monkey who's like looking at the camera, then looking straight forward, of him saying, Steve, Steve going back to the 40s, and then the Hulk asking him, "Hey, what happened with 9/11?"
Well,
Oh, you didn't fix that. No one could have known it was gonna.
no,
happen.
but he was in an alternate reality, so maybe he did fix it.
Maybe one would hope. Or
The
he's
thing
just
is-
like,
The thing
or
is,
he couldn't do it to preserve the timeline.
in that very film, they set up the precedent that de-aging can be a thing. So,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Cap could come back. Also, if you think about it, like, that means that with Pym particles, immortality is a thing.
hell yeah.
That was just kind of a throwaway scene where they were trying to figure out time travel, but that really fucks up a lot of shit in that universe. So how are
Yeah.
you?
Yep. So renew life, probiotics.
Yep. Wait, that was in the pre-show.
I'm just saying. I have it up on my screen because we were looking it up. No, I'm just saying that's the one that I take. So they're all kind of.
You heard it here. The official probiotic of John's work is Renew
That's
Life.
not true, but. The real thing is that they're all pretty much exactly the same thing. So,
Well,
like they
so
have-
the reason
Yep.
that I asked about that in the first place was that every once in a while there would be like a Consumer Reports thing where they test a bunch of off-the-shelf
Yeah.
stuff, and there's like, even if it has the specified probiotics when it leaves the manufacturing facility,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee that they'll survive on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And with like other herbal supplements and stuff, a lot of times that's unregulated and doesn't contain any of the stuff it says it
It
does.
is 100% unregulated, and you can thank Orrin Hatch and
Thanks, Obama.
Who is the other senator? Oh, it's a Democratic senator. But they actually, wow, I was right on the mic.
I know. I was trying to wipe my lips because I'm sweating like a
Don't wipe it with the
Lips are
mic.
sweating?
What?
Your lips are sweating?
Not the ones on his face.
Oh. No, but you
doesn't
can
make
thank
sense.
Orrin
doesn't.
Hatch. Fuck, what was the name of that legislation? But it was
I don't know. The only one I know is Orrin Hatch.
but it was they stopped the FDA from regulating supplements.
Yeah. And Orrin Hatch gets a lot of money from supplement
does,
companies,
somehow.
ironically enough.
They actually have
Weird.
really funny commercials. Oh my god, what was it? There's a fuck. Anyway, FDA regular. Okay, dietary supplements are different. Yeah, they're separate than food and drug products, so they don't really have a lot of regulation, basically.
Yeah. And all they have to do is say these claims are not verified by the FDA. And they
Correct.
can say, like, anything.
So like vitamins and everything, and so like the I think there was a pro dietary supplement group that put a bunch of like public service ads like tell your senators to pass the like don't regulate dietary supplements act. I don't remember what it was. They're like because the commercial was like they're taking away my vitamins, like you can't buy them anymore because they took them away, and it's
Man.
no.
Don't you just love the ignorant?
Oh yeah.
They're so great.
Yeah.
It's a good thing there's so many of them.
So, like, the idea is that you could walk into a GNC and, like, probably a good 50% of that shit is garbage.
Yeah, it's all
Because
sawdust
they
and
just-
floor sweepings.
It's such, like, complete. And that's a that is a problem with probiotics because they're regulated as dietary supplements. So, unless, because there are clinical probiotics that you can buy and get prescribed. There are probiotics that have clinical trials that you can buy, that do have some, but they aren't regulated by the FDA because everyone decided they shouldn't be. And I should probably agree that they shouldn't be, but I don't really know much about that at all. So,
Well, the whole thing was like they shouldn't be regulated by the government because that'll create jobs because it'll make these industries pop up to just like regulate it. And now you're part of the system, John.
yeah, no, I am. Boy, we're just going to have to cut all this out, huh? Honestly, I don't know anything about probiotics or that law.
No, you're all
Or
about
anything.
beer now.
Yeah, I make beer. Make beer.
John, do you just work at a brewery?
Yeah,
You have
make
been,
beer.
you're like,
wish.
oh, I'm a scientist. I'm fancy. I have a chemistry degree or something, probably.
I mean, okay, so not regulating dietary supplements as drugs makes sense to me in some way, but also
But there needs to be
it's the same-
something
it's-
to like
it's the
verify
same-
claims.
It's the same shit that happens every time with an argument in any sort of political spectrum. You have people one side saying, "Hey, maybe we should regulate this," and then the other side saying, "It'll kill everything, no regulations." And it's like, well, there's a middle ground here.
Yeah.
We don't have to regulate these as drugs that are prescribed, or over the counter
but you could,
drugs
like,
that can actually kill
Have
people.
an agency that just like verifies that it contains what it
that's what-
says on the tin.
That's what food regulations cover, which I believe the FDA, which I believe dietary supplements are very close to. But
Yeah.
in terms of like claims on whether or not it will do something is different. The only thing is they're regulating is this isn't going to hurt you if you eat it. It may just be sawdust that you're eating, because they aren't required to, disclose 100% of their ingredients. You know what I mean? It's like just a dumb, it's messed up. The whole system is messed up. It's not just dietary supplements. It's just all messed up. It's because the government doesn't know how to do anything. So we got to drain the swamp. Pull out the old plug. Drain the swamp. Let's build a wall. This guy over here, who's a
Sell a
friend
bunch
of
of
mine,
shit to Saudi Arabia.
he's a friend of mine. I want him to build the wall. Let's give the contract to someone that I'm a personal friend of.
Is that a thing?
That
I don't know.
That seems legal.
Okay.
right.
Can you imagine it going any other way?
No.
It's kind of exactly the way Russia works.
That's
with,
weird.
their
Like an oligarchy?
infrastructure. Yeah, it's like, hey, you're friends of the government. Let's give you the contract
It's also the way the mob works.
and all of the money. Yeah, you know.
Hey,
Let's
TJ.
get political.
how's
Let's talk
going?
about politics.
Let's turn this around a little bit.
Okay.
I
TJ's turn the
Every
car
now
around.
and then I get.
Yes.
Okay. Back to World of Warcraft. All right.
back to we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
So, I want to talk in this world of misery and despair. I want to talk about a new home I have found for positivity.
PlayStation
And
Home.
just no. No.
Xbox
never.
Live.
Yes, but I need to renew it. But so
Man.
I want to discuss this week's. This is kind of not a news segment. I just gave it a name. This is our Byte subreddit of the week.
Oh, nice.
So
Positivity
this-
stream.
I have this new home for positivity for me,
Yeah.
full of great stuff. I'm just gonna pull a couple of posts, just read them for you guys, and then I'll explain where you can find this. So, like we've got this post that says, "No, you're the sweetie." We've got this post that says, the question was, what's something the opposite sex reads into that they've got totally wrong? And someone responded saying, and the opposite, just because a woman is talking to you doesn't mean she wants your dick in her vajayjay.
Is this Ask Women?
No, it's not. I've got this one that says,
Hashtag not all men.
this screenshot said, someone did a post that said, every time you jack off, 10 trees are planted. Someone else says, this is not shitty, it's amazing. And someone responded to that saying, I'm going to keep the lumber business stocked for years. Let's see, Words of Wisdom, which says, if you can't handle stressful situations without needlessly murdering people, don't become a cop. If you're afraid of black people, don't become a cop. If you're scared of dogs, don't become a cop. So this you can all find.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Oh,
I'm not a
Sorry.
cop.
I want one of the best ones, so here we go. Damn, that's not good, but I give you props for your dedication to your children. They will know at some point all that you did for them. You will have a bigger S on your chest. I hope things change with the situation concerning your wife. I truly wish you the best. Now, all these screenshots are from a subreddit
All right, what's
called Rim Job Steve.
What the fuck?
Okay, you're taking me on a journey here, TJ.
Yes. So, Rimjob Steve is actually a reference to a user by the same name, Rimjob Steve. This is a subreddit full of heartfelt comments with from people with less heartfelt usernames. Like, for instance, that one that I mentioned about, no, you're this. No, I don't want to say that one because that's
How do you
kind of
spell
a
rim
bad
job,
word.
Steve?
It's Rimjob_Steve.
Okay, because I
So it's like John _ Danger.
Exactly.
That's where I got it from.
The one that said, just because a woman is talking to you doesn't mean she wants your dick in your vajayjay. That's
true.
from the username shitfaced_cuntfucker.
Oh boy.
I love when this shows up in comment threads though, where somebody will say something, and then the person will reply to them with "Thank you, cunt fucker 2000."
Exactly. Like the
I wish that could be the episode title. Somehow I don't think I could do that.
the don't become a cop comment is from user DM_me_booty_pics. So DM me booty pics.
Nice.
We've got the person that was giving props for the dedication of your children. That's from it's your girl skinny pussy. So yeah.
Oh, that's a reference to a Vine that I like. That's the It's Your Boy Skinny Penis. It's a great Vine. I just wanted to mention my Vine knowledge because I'm a youth.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
I mean,
there's-
that knowledge belongs in a museum now.
It does.
There's some great posts that are actually genuinely heartfelt, heartwarming, and positive from some absolutely abysmal or inappropriate usernames.
Yeah.
Some of these are not the best.
I have
recently.
definitely subscribed to r/rimjobsteve now.
Yep. So have
And I thank
recently.
you for bringing this into my life.
Oh, there was this one post. I don't know if this is positive, but this one says, "Asshole makes me think of like smooth, waxed porn star buttholes. Arsehole makes me picture a gray, sallow anus surrounded by a pair of pallid cheeks, featuring a lot of hair, the kind you'd expect to find on a 60-year-old pensioner's Craigslist
Please
posting."
stop! That was too much.
That's from XX Cuntfucker XS.
Okay, God. People really like using the C word in their names.
Yes, they do. They
Yeah.
also use
edgy.
Must
the-
be Australian.
I skipped a few that had the N word.
You know,
in
in
it.
Australia, it's actually, what people say to their friends. So
It is.
actually,
But if you
okay.
say it outside of
Cool.
Australia, you have to deal with the cultural repercussions of like how people perceive things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of them that just have the N word in it, and I'm not going to say that even on
Yeah.
the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the internet.
Who is putting the N word in their username?
Oh God. So I don't know if you've seen Reddit before, John.
But I will say,
Yeah.
that there definitely are going to be some African American people that are going to use the N word in their username.
Well,
There
when they
are
use it, do
But
they
they're
spell it
allowed.
with the A or the ER? Because a lot of these that I'm seeing are spelled ER.
I've seen both.
It's that sketch. It's that guy.
But there is
remember
a
that guy in the
username named-
news? I'm gonna put that. I want to put that clip in there.
No.
Remind me.
I
to
just
put that
remember
clip
when
in.
Bill Maher said it.
There is a username, soft N-word, big penis with hyphens in between.
Matt, can you play audio from a video on YouTube?
I mean, I could, but you guys can't hear it.
Yeah. So go ahead and we'll just respond to like we did hear it. What are we playing?
Well,
Post it in the Discord.
I will post in
That's
this. God,
YOLO420.com
I
/ born in the
can't.
80s.
I can't say. I can't say this out loud. The name of the.
Can I play
Yeah.
the video?
Oh yeah. It's on.
I don't want to play this.
It was on the news.
I don't want to play this.
This is a clip from a news channel.
No.
So it's
Not seen the parody of this?
teacher explains the word, and then there's an N-word.
N-I star A.
The soft N-word.
Soft
No,
N-word.
I refuse.
no, no, no.
Veto. Veto.
Okay.
Veto.
So
Is that gonna be the episode title? The soft N-word?
if you've
I
ever,
I hope not.
yeah, if I want to get delisted from iTunes.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've not. Oh God. You have to see this video, and it's linked on our Discord, YOLO420.
Yeah, I'll
It's
watch it
incredible.
later.
Because it is the
I
whitest
will have
teacher
to
in
mute
the
myself
world
if I listen to it.
who is emphatically defending what he said to a
So is-
teen.
Is
who is
white
acting up
splaining
in
a
his
thing?
class.
Because I
Yeah.
think that's white splaining.
It would be if
Kind
the
of.
guy wasn't very clearly and obviously just completely an idiotic, clueless person. Like, he's not
Okay.
like, there's zero malice in this. He's just like, I was just trying to say what the kids were saying. They say it with an ah. And so that's what I did. And it's actually, so if you've ever seen the first season of the Boondocks animated show, they actually word for word animated this in their thing. It's amazing because it's like the exact. I mean, this guy. It's just funny. It's funny because the guy's obviously not racist. He's just clueless
Yeah.
and one of those people that thinks that racism doesn't exist. And it's like,
Well, no, we
You know
had a
what I
black
mean? Like-
president, so it's all solved.
this was probably before then. This was 2006.
And even so, that's how systematic racism exists. Is by
Yeah.
just
Oh, for sure.
We're not culturally sensitive to anything.
For sure. It's the way he pronounces it is amazing. Because he's literally like this 50-year-old teacher guy who's just. And it's the cringiest shit.
And that's
so.
why you should never use words you don't fully understand the meaning
I think I think I'm gonna upvote this YouTube comment because it's the YouTube comments on this, by the way, surprisingly good. This by My Name a Jeff, which is a great reference to another Vine. That's the culture. This is a real life Dave Chappelle show sketch. It really is. Like it's like literally it reads like comedy. I'm gonna put this in the episode, the full 4-minute in, because it's amazing. Because this guy is just trying. He holds up a sign that has the N word with an ER and then the N word with the A. I
feel like I have seen
this is the bad one. This is the one I said. It's just like, oh my god. He's like literally there with a shovel, just digging this grave in front of you. It's just like, oh my god, dude. And I feel genuinely bad for the guy because he's just completely clueless. Here's literally exactly how this should end: is he should be reprimanded for being an idiot, and he should go to training because he needs to have
like
diversity
some
training.
kind of sensitivity training or something.
He's clearly not like a horrible person. He just is completely clueless about race. He needs to be educated. And the kid who's probably acting up in class, don't act up in class, but also, teacher, you gotta be sensitive to racial terms.
What do you think the context was? Do you think it was like as a punishment, or as he was like a greeting, like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yes,
buddy?
literally. Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey, rad dude. But not that word.
Hey, bro.
Let me just put the clip in. Let me put the clip in of Vince McMahon saying the N word on WWE.
What?
As a joke. You don't remember this?
No, I didn't watch
did.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've seen
he
it.
goes in. There's a bunch of black wrestlers. I believe this was during the Nation of Domination, which the WWE problematic racism all around. The Nation of Domination was awesome, and it was actually a really good representation of black wrestlers because they were badass and they just beat everybody up. But he went up in the room, and the most white guy. He's just like, "What up, my N words?" And he's just like, he's obviously trying to be the stuffy boss who isn't with it. But it's it's the same situation with this guy where he clearly isn't understanding that the reason why you're not allowed to say that word isn't because it's a social faux pas for a white guy to saying it. It's because of the history behind that word and the terrible cost of lives and the terrible history of slavery in America is why you can't use that word. Not because, it makes you seem like a dopey white guy, which is exactly, I think, what this teacher was trying to do. It was like, I'm going to use the youth terminology, and it's more nuanced than that, turns out. But anyway, and he didn't. Of course, he still owns the company. Nothing. It's wrestling. They got. Hey,
I mean,
they gave Kofi Kingston the championship.
I'm assuming he also tried to play it off because he was trying to say it's not me; it was my character, as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
I mean, because his character was a heel as fuck. But
correct. It was supposed to come off as bad, but it also was very cringy because you're like, yeah, that's kind of crossing a line. You are the bad guy, and people are supposed to take that badly. You probably just shouldn't go that way,
Yeah.
He probably should have came in and said, "What's going on, my homies?" That would have been taken the exact same way as him being some white guy trying to act cool. But the thing is that when you hear, reports backstage, I don't think it's the case anymore. But especially back in the day, you have a lot of Southern white wrestlers from, who were born in the 40s and 50s and 60s working, with the talent and that, openly using the N-word backstage back then. You'll hear wrestlers talk about it as being part of it, and those people were getting yelled at, of course, for it, but it was definitely a culture where that was happening. It kind of makes you think about that, saying, maybe we should have a black writer on the staff who can tell us that this sounds bad, because the talent certainly isn't going to say that it's bad, because they're just, if they disagree with the boss, they're going to not get booked. So they're just like, I guess we'll go along with this, it's bad. Anyway, but to be fair to the WWE, they have made a lot of strides lately. So, they're definitely, their past is very checkered, but I think they're currently making a lot of, it's kind of a 2 steps forwards, 1 step back,
Yep.
They kick Hulk Hogan out for 2 years, but then they bring him back.
Because opposites attract. Got it.
To be fair, on that
You
front,
hate cigarettes, and I like to smoke.
Oh, that's such a great music video. But, Hulk Hogan's back, but they also, the word is that he did go around backstage and meet with a lot of the African-American wrestlers who were very offended, and he apologized personally, and they've said, hey, we're cool now.
I'm not really familiar with the Hulk Hogan thing. Was it that he...
Have you heard of the website, the website Gawker.com?
Well, that's what I thought. Like, in his sex
does
tape,
not
he was
exist
dropping
anymore.
N-bombs.
Partially because of this. So, what happened was Hulk Hogan, Hulkman Hogan, Terry Bollea.
Suburban Commando Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Blue
Shit,
Thunder.
what was that? What was that show that he was on? The like night boat show.
The Night
Blue
Boat?
Thunder.
Blue Thunder. Okay, yeah. It was like Knight Rider with the boat.
Yeah, but there was also a helicopter too. But the boat was the thing.
Yeah. Whatever.
Blue Thunder.
Where was it? Tropic Thunder?
No, it was Blue Thunder.
that was the other movie.
What the fuck is Hulk Hogan Thunder TV Thunder in Paradise?
Okay, there it is.
You're close. Thunder in Paradise is the show.
What the heck was
It
Blue
was like
Thunder?
a cop show.
Blue Thunder
that
was
like,
a movie with Malcolm McDowell and...
Okay,
Okay, you were way off.
because other
Daniel
people searched for it
Stern.
too. The Blue Thunder Hulk Hogan thing.
So Thunder in Paradise was a television show in, what was that, the 80s? 94. Early 90s. Hulk Hogan was a cop? Ex-Navy SEAL. Worked as mercenaries out of their tropical resort
Oh my
headquarters along
god,
Florida's
this
Gulf
poster.
Coast, using their futuristic high-tech boat nicknamed
Hulk Hogan's
Thunder.
first name is Terry?
Yeah, Terry.
Yes.
They travel around the world fighting various criminals and villains. They also balance their dangerous undercover work with the responsibility of raising widower Spencer's young daughter Jessica, who lives with them. It's a really dumb show. It's actually really good because it's like peak like dumb 90s sitcom action. Like there's only 22 episodes. But anyway, what were we talking about? Hulk Hogan?
About
his
how
situation.
he's racist?
Yes. So his daughter was dating, I believe, an African-American wrestler back in that. And so, he was, very protective of his daughter. This was recorded while he was having sex with his friend's wife, Bubba the Love Sponge, who was a DJ in Florida, like a shock jock. His wife,
like a radio DJ.
he was like letting him have sex with Hulk Hogan. This was like a approved arrangement between him, his wife, and Hulk Hogan. But Bubba the Love Sponge recorded said sexual intercourse section in his house that this occurred. And what I like to talk about during foreplay is how my daughter shouldn't date one of those N-words and saying things like, I'm definitely a racist, I believe, or something. The quotes
What?
are pretty insane. Hulk Hogan racist quotes. Let me get the exact quotes because these are good. Racist rant over his daughter dating a black man. Let me get the exact quotes. All right, here we go. I'd rather, if she was going to F some N-word, I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot-tall N-word worth $100 million, like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist, effing N-word.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
He was terminated by the WWE pretty much immediately as this came out. So he, it's just some locker room talk. But anyway, so the website Gawker.com got video of said sexual intercourse section and released excerpts of the video. Not the full video. There was no nudity in the video. They just had footage of the incident. And then they were sued by Hulk Hogan and a lawyer who works for the Trump family now, Melania Trump, for defamation and for releasing. They actually called it revenge porn, basically, even though the website Gawker.com did not have any illicit images or in the video. They just had clips of the video.
Yeah,
where
so like
relevant
as somebody
things
who
were said.
wasn't super paying attention to it. I always thought that it was just like they got in trouble because they showed the sex tape and because
No.
it was like
They were edited
unauthorized
clips
nudity.
of the sex tape.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was. I can't remember because it was all taken down, and it will stay down because they lost the case. But if I remember correctly, it was either blurred or it cut out before any nudity happened. So it was just and it was afterwards. So it was literal confirmation of.
So it was not foreplay; it was pillow talk.
No. So that N-word part was at the very start of the video, I believe. But then that was so other news articles had put that out because they had seen the tape and they pulled that segment. They didn't show the actual clips, I believe. They may have had audio of that him saying that. But so they argued basically there was no reason to have the actual video of this because it wasn't newsworthy and they were just, basically trying to shame Hulk Hogan, by putting out this sex tape, basically. Which I see some merit in that argument, but also it was newsworthy, and that's it. Like he
on
was
account
a man,
of all the news it made.
I mean, yes, he is exactly. It was literally a self-fulfilling prophecy because they talk about multiple interviews that he's had with Howard Stern, where he's bragging about his infidelity or his sexual escapades, and then you have proof of him cheating on his wife. And then putting out an excerpt of a video confirming this, showing his face, no nudity or anything. You would think that would be probably distasteful, but not illegal. But of course, it was tried in Florida, Terry Bollea's home state. And the jury was, they had very good lawyers. He paid millions.
Well, it was bankrolled by Peter Thiel, right?
Correct, Peter Thiel, correct.
Because he had an axe to grind against Gawker.
He hated Gawker because Gawker called
something.
him out multiple times for being a really weird, terrible person. Like, remember I don't know if you've seen Silicon Valley, that part where the Gavin Belson gets a young, hip, or fit, early 20s guy and is his blood boy, as they call him, and he takes his blood out and puts it in his body. That Peter Thiel did that, and Gawker reported on that. So they just were reporting on stuff about him, and he didn't like it because they had a website called Valleywag, which doesn't exist anymore, that was basically news about Silicon Valley people and all the dumb shit they get up to. And now I believe one of the people they used to rant about owns the Gawker website now. So we'll see what happens when that comes back online.
Cool.
I forget who it is. I think it's founder of, Bumble, the dating app.
That's
Silicon
weird.
Valley guy. Anyway, so it's a whole thing. He said some really racist shit. Sorry, he didn't. So I wanted to get it right because I don't want to defame the guy. We have the exact quote because it was recorded, so I can give you the exact quote, which is he didn't say he was racist. He said we're all racist. He was, obviously condemning all of society.
Yeah. After he repeatedly dropped a bunch of N-bombs, he's like, yes, but all of the people are as bad as me too.
Yeah.
Man, what a trip! That's definitely not how. The case is a lot more nuanced than I thought it was. Because just looking from the outside, it was always Gawker's being trashy and publishing people's sex tapes. But the case you've laid out is much more interesting, and it's a little bit fucked up that the whole company got dissolved because of it.
Yeah. Especially when it was a company that was super putting a lot of pressure on the powerful,
Yeah.
And they were taken down for flying a little too close to the sun, I think.
Yeah. Who'd have? Hey, shut up. Who would have thought Hulk Hogan was the sun?
I mean, have you seen his skin? The man looks like a hot dog. But I mean, you also have to be able to forgive people too. He's definitely.
But what's that apology like when he goes back to wrestling? Hey.
I think he just says I think he owned up to it. He said what I said was racist and wrong, and I apologize.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that he thinks that way.
People can change, though. You know? Like,
yeah, I suppose. But like,
you know, he's worked with a lot of African American wrestlers. You know, and I know there are a lot of them that went to bat for him.
all right,
as well.
as an apology, you can all fuck my daughter. Just to prove how cool I am with it.
You don't have to be an 8 foot tall N-word or whatever he said. Oh my god. Oh, we've said the N-word a lot in this episode.
We haven't, to be fair, we haven't said the N-word. We've
Well, we're
said
being very-
N-word.
I mean,
We've,
We said the word, the N-word,
yeah,
which is more than one word.
2 words.
So, good news, 48 minutes until I could finish my download.
nice. I just want to
Awesome.
mention.
Also,
One
good
final-
news.
one
3
final
white
thing.
dudes on a podcast solved racism. All right, we did it.
I
We
did.
did it, boys.
I just wanted to mention. I think the thing that meant the most to me, and why I think maybe I'm a little bit more accepting of Hulk Hogan since 2015, is Big E Langston, as he was known, but he's now just known as Big E. He's an African American wrestler, one of my favorites. He's in the New Day, which is one of the funnest, like the best parts of wrestling right now. These 3 African American wrestlers who are just hilarious and fun and everything that's good about wrestling. He tweeted right before the event. He said, "I'd like to think everyone deserves a path to redemption. I appreciate Hulk Hogan taking the time to apologize and hear my position today." You know, it sounds like he owned up to it. You know, he went to because he was one of the people who was very vocal about this in 2015 and offended. So it sounds like he really gave his at least he's putting his best foot forward right now. So hopefully.
And I think it is true that like a few heartfelt conversations, if you approach them
that
with
was-
an open mind, can really change your view of things.
Uh-huh.
So it is possible that he sees his past racism in like a completely
Yeah.
different light.
Yeah, I think that and the other thing is, the reason why I think a lot of people were really mad, particularly Big E, is that he apologized on like the Today Show or something, and it was really didn't feel very genuine. And he was like, "You need to come and talk to the people you work with, like directly, you know, like hear us, and then basically." Get dressed down a little bit by us, let me give you a piece of my mind, and then we can start to, rebuild our relationship. So, I hope things are better. That's why personally I feel a little better about it, because I like Big E a lot, and he's been very vocal. And so I trust he's happy things are working better now, at least publicly. So anyway, downloading what, TJ?
I'll be right back.
Oh. So,
You're downloading World of Warcraft Classic, the beta.
not yes. The beta.
Yeah.
The way for me to play before it comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Before World of Warcraft Classic comes out. So no, I've been really amped about World of Warcraft Classic lately. I basically spent the last 2 weeks talking about World of Warcraft, looking up things in World of Warcraft, being on our classic WoW Reddit. I'm getting way into it, and talking about getting excited to start. We have a release date finally. I think we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago.
It might have been last week, but what is that date again?
27th of August, 2019. I
Just
already booked time
week
off on my
late
work.
for a birthday present for me.
I have worked. I have already booked off time from work off for this, so I am fully in. I've got a World of Warcraft Brady game strategy guide ready to go
Yeah.
in PDF form.
So we talked a little bit last time about what
Yes.
characters we have played, but I think we
Yes.
should do a little bit of work here on just assembling our group and solidifying what we're going to play.
Yeah,
Because we have to make a viable party here.
yeah.
So TJ, what are you gonna play?
I really went into this last week. I'm Holy Priest every single freaking time.
Now that is gonna gonna mess with
Discipline
my
Priest
plans.
is-
It's gonna mess with my plans to be a shadow priest.
No,
What?
you're okay because that's DPS.
That's true. A Shadow Priest is basically a warlock without utility.
You dick.
No, they are. So I've been like way into theory crafting about all of this expansion, and I mean, like, I am deep in this at this point. Like, so okay, let me break down your Shadow Priest decision right now. All right, one thing we want to get off the chest right now is we're talking about party balance in 5 mans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine. As long as we have a healer, a tank, and 3 DPS, we're fine. As long as you know how to play your class. You know, you can mind control mobs. You know, that's something that other classes can't do. There are, you know, there's, you have Vampiric Embrace as a Shadow Priest. That gives just the entire 5-man party healing when you're doing damage. So that's just nice, you know, it's helping out healing and damaging at the same time. And a lot of people talk about raids. And like, oh, if you want to get into raiding, you got it. Here's the classes and optimization, all that stuff. And it's like, dude, man, don't even think about that right now. Like, you can optimize yourself all to hell. It's not going to matter. For one thing, Blizzard has already announced that they're changing one of the mechanics. Not changing, but they're making it. So in 1.12, the monsters used to have 8 debuff slots. So in a raid, when you have 40 people, there are only 8 debuff spells that can be applied at a time.
Oh, really?
Obviously, a lot more. With 40 people, you can apply a lot more than that, and it's not 8 debuffs. It's 8 spells. So you could have like tons of warriors doing that, and you're going to need Sunder Armor all the time. So there's one gone because that's the tanking one. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that are always going to be on. You're going to always have the Warlock Affliction. You're going to always have, you know, all these things are going to be on all the time. But in patch 1.7, which is prior to Burning Crusade, they optimized rating a little bit by upping the debuff slots on monsters to 16, which means basically you're never going to run out of debuff slots. So at that point, Shadow Priests became a little bit more viable because they also had shadow debuffs that were very similar to Warlocks but weren't the exact same spell, so it would take up slots. So it becomes more viable. So that's my... That's my advice.
Okay, so if
Matt.
it was a choice between a Shadow Priest and a Warlock, which would be better?
Which would be better for what? For just playing?
For group play. Because, like, the main thing I liked about Shadow Priest was it was great for solo, like, grinding.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will find the same with Warlock.
Yeah, it's about the
Warlock
same.
is really good for solo grinding as well.
Okay.
So they're both really good. For a
whatever you
lot
feel
of
like.
the same ways. Honestly, like, you're going to be useful as either.
Well, I do primarily play Warlock and Hearthstone.
Yeah. They're both great. Here's a tipping point for you. Warlocks do get a free, quote-unquote, mount at 40th level.
And it's that sweet horse, right?
It is a sweet fire horse, yes.
Fuck, I'm a Warlock, guys.
Yeah. It's a great class. So in terms of DPS in World of Warcraft, 5-mans, whatever, they're really useful because they've got a lot of crowd control stuff. Fears and not mind control, but they can banish demons and things. So they're really good in a lot of ways in 5-mans. In raids, their damage isn't near the top tier, but it's still pretty much in the middle of the road, so they're very useful. And they're needed in raids because they have utility. Because they can make... The only problem with Warlocks is Soul Shard farming, which is going to suck.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And now in World of Warcraft that doesn't exist, but back then you had to run around and kill mobs and get them down to a very low amount of health and then do the soul drain, and then when they die they would give you a soul gem. So you would just have to run around killing mobs to get soul gems to stock up because you need them for your spells. So yeah, it was a little bit of a chore in the day, but every class has that chore for something or other. So whereas rogues do better DPS, but their chore is You had to manually get poisons and apply them, which is all taken away now. You'd have to manually.
God, I forgot about how annoying that was.
Yeah.
I played a rogue for like a couple of weeks, and I quit because like just the chores were so annoying.
Mm-hmm. Shadow Priest doesn't have a lot of chores like that.
No, it's pretty much
mages
just.
don't have
Let me
that.
do damage to you until I'm fully healed and I'm ready for the next fight.
I mean, warlocks are good with that too because they have a pet for doing solo grinding, and they can also replenish their mana by sucking their own health out. And then when you have your pet running around taking aggro, you don't have to worry about your health. So it's actually kind of nice. You're never really waiting for mana as a warlock. One of the problems with mages leveling is that you basically have to drink after every fight. But you can make your own water, so it's not that bad. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things that is different.
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna have to get drinks and keep drinks with me.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the way it works.
They've really buffed up mana regens in later.
Yeah, it's almost like they fixed a bunch of stuff that's really annoying.
Here's the thing, Matt. When you say that, you're right. But also, when they fix things to make them less annoying, it takes the corners off. You know what I mean?
I suppose, yeah.
It makes things a little bit more homogenous. So it's kind of one of those things that, you know, you can appreciate, and this is something I've seen turn with games a lot, is looking at games like your Dark Souls games where they are purposely very systems heavy and difficult for the reason that they are. They're meant to be extremely technical. Mm-hmm. And that's the way World of Warcraft felt. Not in the combat, but maybe in the systems. And so everything felt, I don't know. I think one of the things that really kind of sucked about when they started changing World of Warcraft, I say probably a little like Cataclysm would be the best thing, because I think that's when they first introduced the free level 80 warp, where you could just get a character at level 80 and start the new content. That's kind of when they were like, okay, nobody wants to level, let's just get you to max level as quick as possible so you can do all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And whereas in Vanilla WoW, leveling felt like like every level felt like a big accomplishment. Whereas now, with the spells, number of spells reduced, the homogenization of classes, so like right now, if you were to play Mage, you pick a spec: Arcane, Fire, Frost. And when you pick Fire, you don't get any Frost spells or Arcane spells. When you pick Arcane, you don't get any Frost or Fire spells. Back in the day, you got all three, basically. And you just pick and choose. And then you would pick a spec based on which one that you wanted to focus more on, but you'd still be able to do everything. They simplified the mechanics quite a bit.
It makes sense. When WoW first came out, MMORPGs were still like incredibly niche. And WoW was what really brought them into like the general populace of gamers.
Yeah.
So over time, they just leaned more and more into like broad appeal, and that kind of you lose something when you do that.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not going to say the game is perfect. You know, the new WoW has added some awesome stuff, like the story stuff. The dungeon mechanics are so much more unique and interesting. You know, like it's just so much awesome stuff has been added, but also Vanilla was a very different game. Like, it was very much about getting an epic item felt epic. And now, when you play World of Warcraft, having a full set of epics is very common at the end game. But back then, it was just every week, you get in with 40 people to have maybe a shot of getting maybe one epic item, but maybe it wouldn't.
And this is pre-transmog, so if you get an epic item, you're going to look like you rolled out of a trash heap. Yeah. Because none of your shit's going to match.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's one of the things I love about WoW, is that you would just have, you know, all this trash garbage stuff, but then these awesome looking shoulders, or this trash garbage shit, and then this awesome looking weapon.
Yeah. And I like that kind of aesthetic from just like a story standpoint of like these are the trophies of your adventure, and they're not meant to look cool together. They're just a bunch of different things from a bunch of different feats that you've accomplished.
And that was one of the things that was really satisfying about getting a full tier set, was getting everything to start matching. You know what I mean? And being like, oh shit.
Yeah, because I remember you'd see, if you were in like a PvP area, if you saw somebody that matched, you were like, fuck, I'm not going near that person.
They know what they're doing. They're wearing armor that looks like other pieces of armor that they have. Yeah, dude. So World of Warcraft Classic.
So are we fully decided on Horde then?
I want to do Horde.
Yeah, okay.
I really want to do
Because
Horde.
Horde is what I did back in the day. Question is, do I want to do a PvP or PvE server?
Can you move between
No.
them?
I'm sure in WoW Classic you'll be able to,
Okay.
because they charge fees for that. But it's either or, man.
I don't know.
And so the way it
I don't
used
want to go PvP.
So the way it used to be was you would go PvP server and you could switch over to a PvE server. But if you leveled to 60 in a PvE server, you couldn't transfer your character to a PvP server.
So if you're on a
They've kind of
PvP
gotten over
server,
yes.
it's just PvP in certain areas, right?
It is PvP everywhere in the world, but in certain faction-controlled zones, you won't be flagged for PvP automatically. There will be zones that are free-for-all PvP. Like, for instance, a big one was the Eastern Plaguelands, Western Plaguelands, Tenaris, Strangethorn Vale, heavy PvP areas, was it Ash? Something
Ashen
Forest?
Vale?
Ashen Vale, yes, thank you. Ashen Vale Forest.
Yep.
Yeah, big one, because that was where the Barrens spilled out into.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And that's where the elves
Yeah,
spilled out
the Night
into.
Elf lands.
Yes, so that was where PvP happened. And those are, then they'll tell you that you're flagged for PvP when you go in those zones. And then but most of the lower level starting zones and all the cities will be PvP protected. Unless you come in flagged, because you just came from a PvP area, because your flag goes off after 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I think when I played, I was on PvP servers.
Yeah. Oh, no, but PvE servers, you could also do world PvP, but you would just have to tag yourself by typing /PvP, and then you could attack, or if somebody else was flagged and you attack them, it would auto-flag you.
Oh, maybe that's it, because I remember running into players from other factions and not being able to talk to them and trying to communicate through emotes.
Yep. Yeah, if you were on a PvP server, they probably would have just been attacking you because you were being flagged. So that's the difference. I really do think I want to do PvP. We may regret it.
Well,
but,
it seems...
I will, but it's
more
fine.
hardcore.
And it seems
Yep.
like it makes more sense within the world. Like, if you see a dwarf, you're going to try and kill it.
Exactly. Well, and I think one of the things I really liked about PvP, because I did level a character on a PvP server as well, is that you kind of get to the point where you're in the shared zones and you like see other faction members and you just have this unease. You know, they could attack you at any moment, and you're just kind of running around being like, "Oh, fucking no!"
You'll try to just run past them a little bit out of their way. You might just wave or bow, but then you just you just do what you can.
And then, of course, the absolute terror of the noise of the rogue unstealthing noise. It just is that meme. Nothing personal, kid. With the knife, that was the way rogues were back in the day. And there would be high level people going around the lowish level, like the 20, 30 level, areas, just ganking people left and right. I used to do it as a rogue as well. It's just a lot of fun. But it's one of those things that I think adds flavor to the game. It makes leveling slower though, because you are going to get held up by assholes. But again, that was a thing that I found as either it would become something fun, because then you would say, "Hey, guild, who's online and wants to come over and fuck some shit up?" And so you would go and fuck some shit up, and you'd bring your level 60s over, and then they'd either fuck off or they'd bring their level 60 guild mates over, and I would be just having a free-for-all PvP for a while until people got bored. Or you would just log on to an alt and start playing somewhere else. Just be like, all right, let's just give this guy 20 minutes to leave and then go back to doing what we were doing.
Warlocks can do a summoning portal, right?
Yes, they can.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Warlocks can summon.
I'm totally
party
on the
members.
Warlock train now.
Hey, Warlocks
Now,
are great.
Way back on Greymane,
Yep.
the Alliance were just absolute assholes, weren't they? Even though that was a PvE server.
It was a PvE server. Yeah, they were. I mean, it's the way every server is. I'm sure they said the Horde were assholes, so, but,
Man, I almost want to start visiting the forums again once that happens, because
Yeah.
that's where you started talking to your rivals in the other faction.
so let's talk
It's got to
a
be
little
like
bit
the
about...
official Blizzard forums.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the way it used to be in a while. And that's the thing I missed most about World of
In
Warcraft was...
the days before Reddit.
Exactly.
Before Reddit killed all the individual forums.
Yeah, so one of the things I missed most about World of Warcraft was the community. The fact that you had a server, you could talk to other people on the server, you would talk, across faction on the forums. You would something would happen in game, and then you'd hop on the WoW forums and see if people are bitching about it. Like, hey, who the fuck was in Ironforge last night fucking around? You'd just be like, oh yeah, I don't know, I heard about that one guy. And that's a thing that kind of is gone now because of the sharting. It's not sharding, it's sharding, which they do now, where you have people phasing in and out of your game no matter where you are, because you'll be in like a server group, and there will just be people phasing in and out. So everywhere you're at looks like a base level of populated, like the most optimal level of populated. So it doesn't feel completely empty, but it also feels like there are people around, and not too many that you feel like you're never getting, to kill anything you want. So they've done a really good job balancing that. And it's called sharding. And it kind of ruined servers, as long as cross-realm PvP did as well. Because back in the day, it used to be just all PvP happened through, inter-realm PvP, and that was awesome because you would see the same people and fight the same people on the faction and get to kind of know their play styles and have rivalries, which was fun. They did bring realm versus realm PvP in after a while, and that was fine too, because you would still be, with your party or whatever from your faction or from your server, but a little bit different. I think so. I think they've announced that they're going to have cross-realm PvP again, because before, I wax poetic and nostalgic about having just inter-realm only PvP or inter-server only PvP. The wait times could be ridiculous to get into games.
Yep.
They added the Warsong Gulch, Alterac Valley, Arathi Basin weeks. So each week one would give you bonus rep, for that week, and you get a quest to get X number of kills in the battleground of choice that week to get extra gold and faction rep. Those will be around, and those helped with queue times, because basically be it's AB week, so if you queue up for AB, that's what everyone's doing, so it kind of worked. But there'd still be, I gotta wait 20 minutes to get into a game Warsong Gulch, and so that would be the run around, because you would just queue up and then you'd run around, and that would be, I'm gonna run around Orgrimmar fishing, and upping my fishing skill, or cooking, or checking the auction house, or chatting on guild chat, you know what I mean? That was the thing. Now it's basically instant. You just get into a game, which is fine. I'm willing to give it up,
Yeah, it seems like Battlegrounds should be just kind of like a separate thing. Versus the PvP areas where you will have that kind of rivalry build up. Battlegrounds are a separate thing.
Yes, exactly. And I think the ability to get in games makes PvPing a little bit more accessible. One thing it does hinder a bit is if their faction honor system is the way it was back in the day, where you would get faction gear based on your rank that week. So you would be, you'd level up your rank and get honorable kills to get to be Grand Marshal or High Warlord. That was very difficult. Because it would calculate your PvP rank every week. So
did it cost gold to do Battlegrounds?
No.
Okay, so it was just a time investment?
Correct. Yep. It was just a time investment. And actually, you don't take damage on your equipment for dying. So
I'm looking at the map for Warsong Gulch right now, and all of the memories are flooding back to me.
I know.
It's like,
Warsong Gulch is
gotta
such a
capture
good
the
map.
flag.
Yeah. Oh shit, Druid. He's got the flag because they could run in cheetah form. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's bullshit that they can shapeshift when they're... Or a mage will get it and just blink.
Blink.
Blink,
Yeah.
blink, 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 blink.
Oh yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. Warsong Gulch was really good PvP, as was Wrathy Basin. I have so many memories of just blasting fucking emo rock and playing Battlegrounds, or like fucking screamo metal and playing Battlegrounds with Drew, my roommate, and having a lot of fun. But it's a great game, and I'm looking forward to
One
that.
thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try.
So they're doing layering.
No, you don't understand. This Linkin Park album, it's rock and rap.
So what they're doing, I believe, in Classic, as far as I know right now, is they're going to
Don't
do
make
a
me
thing
start
called.
doing
They're not
points
going to
of
be doing
authority.
sharding. They're going to be doing layering. So you'll pick a server,
Yeah.
and you'll create a character on a server, and then they're going to have multiple layers within a server to help with population, because they're not going to have as many servers to start. And so they're going to have because they can handle a lot more people on a server now. What they're going to do is do the layering, and then
So
slowly
is that to like combat overcrowding on the server?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And that is going to create a situation where they can optimize you within a single server, the amount of people you're going to see. And then eventually, as the population stabilizes, as the game is out for months and months and months, they'll reduce the layering with the hope of entirely removing it and having the populations of servers settled.
Now, have
You know
they
what I mean?
thought about adding loot boxes?
Not in WoW Classic. They would never be able to do that, because I think the whole selling point is it's going to be as close as you can get to the original WoW. They're still going to have obvious stuff in, because it's on the Battle for Azeroth engine. So there's going to be all the engine optimizations will be back. I think you'll be able to get the high-res textures for the units, like the new player models, but you'll also be able to toggle them, because you can currently in game. So like it'll still have a lot of that flexibility for toggling. But they're definitely going to have that. One thing I heard was really awesome that actually happened behind the scenes in Blizzard was they announced back in the old days when people were complaining, why can't we do WoW Classic? People want that. They said, if you remember publicly, oh, we can't do that. It would be impossible. Like, just the way that the server architecture works, it wouldn't be possible. There was a guy, a back-end developer, who spent like a weekend and week like working at work, like 24/7, putting it out and then releasing a working Classic server on the new architecture,
Yeah.
saying, "Oh no, we can
So
do
it's
it."
like, no, let
Here it
me
is.
prove you wrong.
I think
Yeah,
he may be the head Classic developer now. So
Don't tell engineers that you can't do something.
Oh,
because
exactly.
I
they
mean,
will make-
that's how you move up in a company.
yep,
that's how Xbox
Oh no,
One
actually, I can
compatibility
fix
happened.
this. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. You know, they just had a guy who was obviously passionate about Classic WoW, and just being like, let's get into this. So I'm actually like really excited about this. If you want to get really hype, go to reddit.com/classic WoW. It's
You
just
can see
people.
all the memes.
Yep, it's just all these classic memes. But some of the things I really like is people sharing old videos from back then, like classic, like
Yeah.
vanilla WoW raiding videos with like complete with butt rock videos and like old PvP videos. Just that fucking nostalgia. Because I mean, this was pre-YouTube. You know, like this was 2005, 2004. YouTube was 2006. And even when YouTube
I
was
think
around,
even
nobody used it.
Leroy Jenkins had to be ported to YouTube. It wasn't
Correct.
on YouTube originally.
No, it was originally like a real media file that you would share and watch. I mean, like, it is...
You'd be emailing R4Vs to each other,
Yeah.
or whatever the real video format was.
pre-YouTube times were so dark. I remember, like, my freshman year of college just going on random video sites and... You just had to click whatever 8 videos they suggested at the bottom of the video you were currently watching. There was no way to like search or see what was actually out there.
Yeah.
It was a dark time. It was a hard time. The children are wrong.
Yeah. I actually really like another thing that's happened with the WoW Classic Beta been out there. People streaming, people, playing the beta test, and people complaining about bugs that are actually just the way that the game is supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, hey, no, these actually aren't a bug.
I want Blizzard to release the WoW Classic movie, and it's just the movie that they made again. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just loving like all of these old classic WoW videos being put up. Here's one called just WoW Gnome Mage PvPs and the Barons. And it is, let's just see what song it's set to. The Bloodhound Gang Discovery Channel. Just your classic mid-2000s music.
Well, that song was dated by the time that was made, too.
So I actually started playing in 2005. I am really excited to get back. I'm actually talking with one of my old vanilla guildmates, and I'll probably have us, if we're going to play, join the server that he's on and maybe join the guild that he's going to be in, because he was one of my hunter buddies that we used to raid with back in 2005, 2006. He's one of Drew, I think, and him are still friends on Facebook. Yeah, we were hunters. Yikes. So, actually, you say yikes, but looking at the DPS Molten Core, hunters were in the top 3.
Yes, they were.
They were very good. Rogues, warrior. Well, no, not top 4, because it was warriors first, then rogues, then mages, then hunters. So, but hunters were or maybe hunters and mages were pretty close, but it would change with gear because
or with pet. You needed like a cat pet to get good DPS.
Yeah, you wouldn't DPS with pets usually. Most raids, including mine, would make us turn pets off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because pets can steal aggro, and they can also run into a place to aggro, like
so it's
trash.
Not even worth it to risk.
They
that.
are such
even
minimal.
For like.
Yes, they are such minimal DPS because one thing, we can talk all about this. One thing, pets you would never want to use. We would always turn them off because back in the day, except for warlock pets because they're different. But the way that hunter pets worked was they
pets
had
pull aggro.
They pull aggro, but not if you turn that off. That's something you can fix. But pets took damage with 0 damage reduction. So if you had a raid boss that's doing a burst AoE, which a lot of them did, or doing attacks, you can't control where your pet's standing. They just run at them and attack.
And your pet would just die. And
it would take full
useless.
damage. They would just get one shot. I mean, so there was really no point in having a pet.
And you can't run up and waste time reviving it.
You're
just to get one shot again.
And you can't revive them in combat. So there really isn't any point in having pets out. So hunters
the only thing I'm going to miss in Classic, and it's just going to be jumping to my other server and playing in Current, is I loved the Pokemon pet battles.
Yes, that is again.
Man, it's so
they
fun.
added so much cool shit to WoW. Like the new game is great, but it's very different.
Oh,
it just feels like a different game.
WoW has a classic website already.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about private servers for a minute? So private servers exist. There's a lot of them.
They do exist. Yep.
I believe. What was the famous one? They got closed down.
Oh,
Nihilum or Neat. It was the one that was like cease and desisted by Blizzard, and then they complained.
It was on that website. Nostralis.
Nostralis, thank you.
Nostralis.
They were like forced by Blizzard to close down. Probably because the people that ran it lived in the U.S. I believe a lot of private servers that exist now are people in the EU or areas that Blizzard legally isn't going to bother trying to go after them because it, again, is such a small amount of people. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about private servers are pulling maybe 20 or 30,000 players across all private servers. It's such a small amount compared to like World of Warcraft's sub count. So it's really not worth it. I think they push Nostralis as a we can and it will send a message kind of thing, because it is technically breaking the terms of service to play them. Although one could argue if they aren't allowing you to play it, it's a dead game that isn't being supported. So I mean, what? You're not losing a sale. No one's going to not subscribe to regular World of Warcraft because they want to play Classic until they get Classic up, and then it's much harder to excuse people using private servers at that point. But there are some insane things that I've learned about this, because it seemed like when I thought it was like, oh, private servers exist, why can't they just do this? It is so much more complicated than that. So what we're learning through the WoW Classic beta is people are comparing WoW Classic to private servers and finding a lot of discrepancies. And there are privates, because basically when you create a private server, they know what came in the client package, because that's what we had. And they had to build server architecture based on what they guessed the client could work off of. So they reverse engineered servers. It is fucking wild. It could probably, there's YouTube videos explaining how it was done, I'm sure. And it is very complicated. I think there's some weird acronyms for what the term was, the original like private server architecture thing that someone came up with that reverse engineered it. But the problem with it is that we only had data that was stored on the client. Everything else had to be made up based on what they guessed and remembered that Classic had, and what like some like Wowhead or not Wowhead didn't exist at the time, but like Thoughtbot existed back then. So these old databases with loot tables and things, what people remembered about certain bosses having. So everything got like retuned. So every monster, all the AI had to be manually coded in. So like it was all stuff that was not there that they had to guess. And so we're finding there are monsters that are missing abilities that they had in Classic. There are loot tables that don't exist in private that exist in Classic that are more accurate to the original. They're actually having to guess as well, because I don't think all of it's there. One thing they found is that raid bosses in the private servers probably don't have the same stats, so they're probably a little easier in the private servers, because I think the resistances like Shadow, Frost, Fire resistances of the bosses and nature resistances were all a little bit different in private servers than they probably were in Classic. So it's actually kind of interesting that, like, yes, you can play on these private servers, but they're not going to be the closest to Classic that you can get vanilla. So it's kind of really interesting that how much and it gave me a better appreciation of how much work went into making these private servers.
Yeah,
it's not just as simple as, oh, we'll just fucking put it up.
And I suppose at the time, nobody's saying, like, hey, before we release this patch, we have to, like, create an archive of WoW in its current state for future people. I think some of that exists. And I think there are some original Classic WoW developers still there. So I think there is some... I don't know. I think they'll probably go way into it, like, explaining it and stuff. And it's really fascinating, the work that they're doing. Which is why I'm so jazzed for WoW Classic. Like, the private servers exist, but they're like maybe the store brand Coca-Cola. Yeah.
And I want the classic Coca-Cola brand Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? I want the original shit.
It's like a fan film versus a sequel.
I don't know about that. It's a little better than that, but I mean, it's like maybe a sci-fi
it's like
movie
a fan
versus
film versus a prequel.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. But it's kind of fascinating how different that they are. But I'm just excited because I'm just gotten way into learning about the game and remembering kind of all the past and I'm desperately sad that I can't find screenshots. I had tons of screenshots back in the day. I don't even remember the name of the guild I was in. I remember the first raiding guild I was in, Dark Souls Legion, but we beat the first couple bosses in Molten Core, and then our guild kind of fell apart, and we merged with another guild, and I don't remember the name of that guild. Which really saddens me, because I spent a lot of time raiding, and beat fucking Ragnaros and Ixia, all these classic raid bosses with this group. I don't remember the name, so I'm asking my friend if you.
I never even got to the point
maybe.
of raiding. Like, I was always just perpetually on alts trying to level up, and I never
And
really did the
here's
end
the
game
thing.
content.
Here's the thing that was great about Classic WoW, is that the leveling was fun even without the raiding, because right now in the game, leveling is a breeze, and there's so many tools to make it easier and quicker. Back in the day, leveling was fucking dangerous, and it felt epic. Because you're like, man, I've got to kill this Murloc, and fuck, if that second Murloc starts running over here, I'm fucking dead, and that would happen, Whereas now, I think that every class kind of has their own crowd control pretty early on,
And
lots of stuff to make it a little bit easier.
am I remembering this
level.
right? Was there an EXP cost to dying?
No.
No.
So this is one of the things that made WoW so addictive.
Oh yeah, I think I remember this. Can I take this over?
Sure.
Durability cost, but no physical cost. And then you get more durability loss if you decide to not get your body back, like you don't actually go find your body.
Well,
Correct.
that's like durability of
I don't
your
remember how that
weapons
worked.
and your armor and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
10% durability loss on death. Correct. And then if you choose to res at the spirit healer rather than going back to doing your corpse run,
That's-
it was
You get
50%,
resurrection sickness. Yep.
and you would have resurrection
Oh
sickness.
God,
which
res
would have your
sickness. I remember
stats.
that.
So you always would have to do the corpse run, or unless you were planning on just hearthing back to the main city, because the res sickness would leave if you logged out, like for the X amount of time. So
Yeah, it was on a timer. Okay.
yep. So
'Cause,
you don't
this
lose
is
durability
going
if
back
you get
far
killed
enough in my
PvP.
memory that whenever I remember something, I'm like, was that WoW or was that Dark Age of Camelot?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you
that
were a
was
DOC guy.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that made World of Warcraft set itself apart, is that people would say, and the funny part is that people would say that World of Warcraft Vanilla was a game for babies because it was much easier than some of the other MMOs that existed in the day, because the interface was much easier, the leveling was very easy to follow, the mechanics were very easy. You didn't
Some might
have,
say that's just better UX.
yes, and boy, it did have a good UI. But the whole part about like Classic was the fact that when you died, you didn't lose any items, you didn't lose any experience, you didn't lose. It was just like it made it so you didn't feel bad. You were mad that you had to do the corpse run, but you didn't lose anything. You may have to pay, a couple silver to fix everything. And that
But it
actually
was
became
kind of like what we have now with like PUBG and its successors,
Yeah.
where it's just like die, jump back in. Like
Yep.
the friction between that point is so small that you just keep playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and playing, and you lose your job, you lose your family, and you keep playing and playing and playing and playing and playing.
one of the things I really am I'm just like hitting full nostalgia right now. Playing like
We're old. This is what we do now. We
I know.
started the podcast complaining about aches and pains and poop.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about how things used to be
Was
just
pre-show.
so great.
The World of Warcraft I remember was playing in Molten Core, which was in Blackrock Spire, the mountain at the very bottom. You may not remember this, but attunement and keys were a thing. So you had to go through BRD and do the attunement quest, which was like you had to get a shard of the Molten Core and get that so you could go in. That was a cool thing everyone had to do, which was really cool.
Was Molten Core the one that was beneath Orgrimmar?
No. That was Ragefire Chasm,
Oh, yeah. That's
which
the
was
only
that's
one I
very
did.
fire
I did
themed
that
as
one.
well, but not the
Yep.
same. And the Molten Core was dying and a boss of Molten Core, being in like the chat and listening in Ventrilo or TeamSpeak, everyone
Fucking
bitching and being
vent.
mad, but the fond memories of wiping, and then everyone having to run back to the instance, and just everyone rezzing at the thing, and then all of us just running across the ghost version of that zone, and then hopping down and jumping into Molten Core, and then everyone starting back at the front, hoping that the crash mobs hadn't respawned, so we could just run right back. Yeah,
You really took the switch in my brain when you brought up Vent and TeamSpeak.
And now that will be Discord now.
Yeah. And it'll actually work this time.
One thing that I actually think I'm not a full hashtag no changes guy. I don't know if it would be possible for them to do this, but I feel like them moving to 20-man raids, it killed me raiding, because when they went to Burning Crusade and they did 20-man raids, our raiding guild split into 2 raid groups, and it became much harder to get a spot in raids because it was 20-man. And then the second group wouldn't always have a full group. It was like the JV team, basically. And it just kind of lost my will to raid. I think Drew did a lot more than I did. I think I just got busier with other stuff at some point. I got like a girlfriend. I mean, he did that too, but, I was in theater and stuff, and I just kind of had less time to play in like 2008, so. But 40-man raids is fucking tough. Getting 40 people together doing the same thing without fucking up is hard. And in Molten Core,
because you need voice chat to not fuck up. So it has to be 40 people that you actually know. Yeah,
so that's one thing I think is going to be very different in WoW Classic. I think the raiding is going to be tough, but it will be a lot easier than it was, because we all know how to play video games. We all sucked back then. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the game and the mechanics now, but like back then, it was just.
And now the average age of the player of WoW Classic is going to be like 37.
So I think it's going to be still difficult, because getting 40 people together is a challenge. So it's hard because like when you're talking about raiding, you're talking about like you need every week, like one night a week, everyone gets together and we raid. Or 2 nights a week if you're doing multiple raid instances, and getting the same 40 people together, or at least like 80%, because then you'll go week to week, have people drop. Because I was an officer in the raiding guild, and this is the problems we would have, is you would have people that learned or got geared last week not able to make it this week, being filled in with people who would have to learn the fights, because they didn't know and they weren't as well geared, and then we'd not get as far as we got last week, and people get frustrated. So it was really difficult getting a group of 40 people that would stick to it, and come every week. And we had a loot council that based their loot. People would ask for loot at a boss, and the loot decisions would be made based on attendance. Like, okay, you've been in like 3 raids and you haven't gotten a piece, so the first one you want you'll get, or if people were pretty close, we would have them roll for it, but it was kind of one of those things that was just. And then it got to the point, actually, and then it gets a little bit better, because once you start getting people that are good at it, you get things on quote unquote farm status, where it becomes just quick run through. I mean, man, I tell you, running Molten Core back in the day, getting that Lucifron kill, which is the first boss of Molten Core, is one of my greatest and most happiest gaming moments of all time. Is just getting that fucker killed. Because it was so hard, because it was a first raid boss for all of us, and we were not like a heavy hardcore guild. We were a very casual raiding guild. That's how we sold ourselves, and we got that down. And then getting the next one, and then the next one, and then we had the whole thing on farm, to the point where it used to be where we spent fucking 5 hours banging our heads against a wall trying to kill one fucking boss one night, to like 3 or 4 months later us burning through the entire Molten Core in under 2 hours, and just, and to the point where it would start being, people would be on standby for a boss and be like, I just need loot from one guy, I'll and so you would just have people saying, oh, I don't need anything from this boss, put in this slot in this other guy for DPS. And then it got a lot better, because then people could get in, and get the piece of loot they needed. It would, and it became more efficient. I don't know. It's fucking time. It's like fucking a job. You know what I mean? Like trying to get full, like motivation for all these people, teaching all these people how to do stuff, making sure everyone's got the gear that they need to get in. And it was just, I miss it, but making it 20 mans and then 10 mans later made things so much easier, and I raided, in Burning Crusade a bit, just the first couple. And then in, Lich King, I didn't do any raiding. I just got to the level cap and stopped. And then in Mists of Pandaria, I raided, like hardcore endgame raided with a group. And that was awesome. And the experience felt exactly the same, but with 10 people. We may have been doing the 20-man, but we could have been doing the 10-man as well, and that felt awesome. And the way that they built raiding in the new game is awesome, because there is Raid Finder tier, which is simplified mechanics, super easy. You can just look for group, get it, and then that way you can experience the content and get your purples. But they're lower item level purples than you would get if you did the 10-man. Which are lower item level than if you did the 20-man, which are lower level than if you did the 20-man heroic, and which are lower level than if you did the 20-man mythic. And so they just added tiers of difficulty for raiding, so that no matter how many people you get together or what skill level you were, you could get a group and get awesome shit and have that experience. Whereas in vanilla, it's 40-man, that's it, which is its own thing. But it is awesome, and I'm hoping I want to raid. But it is a time commitment. It's a full evening of your life every week is going to be, eaten up by that. So we'll see. But my tips for classes for people, just look around and play what you want to play. Like, the nice thing about World of Warcraft Classic is that basically every class and spec was somewhat viable, except for a few exceptions. Mm-hmm. The most of the exceptions are, if your class has the ability to heal, that's what you're going to be doing in a raid.
Unless if you're a paladin.
Oh no, paladins were the number one healers.
Really?
Actually, yes, they were actually
paladin.
They were resto paladins were the best healers in vanilla, by far, because they had really fast flash heals. They were just really good at keeping tanks alive because they had really quick heals. Druids were really good too for the heals over time. Shamans are good because they have healing totems and they can battle res. I'm sorry, it's not, they can't battle res. Druids can battle res, so they can resurrect while in combat. So if a tank goes down, they could res them and bring them back, and that's saved fights plenty of times. But the idea is if you're going to play shaman, you're going to play druid, you're going to play paladin, you're going to play priest, you're going to be wanting to heal, with the exception probably of shadow priests, since they're adding the extra debuff slots, because shadow priests have a debuff that increase shadow damage, which makes your warlocks do. So let's say you increase the shadow damage by 10%, you have 5 warlocks, that's 50% more damage they're doing, or getting out of your warlocks, because that's each person's getting 10% more damage. So it's like adding a lot of extra damage. So it was that we always had a shadow priest when we were raiding as well, because I think one of the officers was a shadow priest and he was very good at being a shadow priest, and we had a lot of warlocks in our guild, so it really helped out. So what I'm saying is that play what you want to play, but realize that healing classes are going to want to heal, because one of the problems in classic WoW is that the healing classes, other specs, typically weren't as good, except for shadow priest. Still not as good as like a warlock or a mage, but up there, like competitive. You're not going to kick them out. Yeah. So that's my only caution. So if you're going to play a healing class like druid, you're going to be healing if you're going to raid, which is fine. It's fun. Healing's a fun game.
But
it's
generally, if you're playing druid, that's not what you want to do. Like if you've chosen the character of druid, you don't want to just be in the back line as a healer. So
that is probably like the lowest population class, partially because there's only 2 races that can be druids, but also because druids are kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. They do a little bit of everything, but they're not super great at one thing, except for healing in raids, because they have different types of heals, because they have a lot of heal over times, which other classes don't have. Which makes
I only have renew.
Yeah, which makes them really good for tanks and stuff, because they can just pop those on. The tanks are just always getting rehealed. But like all the DPS classes, I mean, you're going to play. You might have to spec a certain way, but any class is pretty much viable. It's honestly like the optimizing for raids. Someone put it this way: like if you couldn't kill a raid boss because you had a Tauren hunter instead of a troll hunter, and they weren't getting that, every 2 minutes 10% damage boost for berserking, you probably weren't going to kill that boss anyway if it came down to that. So it's kind of like the optimization only goes so far. So pick the race and class that you like, you'll find a spot. Unless you're a druid or a shaman or a priest most of the time, depending on your guild, you're going to be healing. So, but yeah, warlocks are good every spec except for the beast or whatever. The demonology isn't very good, except for one demonology lock is good because they have the. They would go with the tank because they had the extra health for their imp. That would increase the health by like 10% or 20% for the tank. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Like the
warlock
respecking
tank was like the Void Walker.
No. So like they would be put in the party with a tank, and then they would have the imp.
Okay.
Because
and the imp has a buff on it.
Has a buff that increases your stamina by like X amount. And so you would put them, and it would go for the whole party that they're in. And so you'd put one warlock in the main tank party, and he would be giving the tank extra health, basically. There's lots of it's complex, but like my thought is that like do some research, but pretty much it's not like people think of it like, oh, if you picked a class, you're not going to be able to raid, or you're going to be like shoehorned into a thing. For most of the DPS classes, do whatever the fuck you want. Warriors the same way. The only problem is that the only tanks are going to be warriors, because paladins couldn't really tank because they don't have. This is I've been in on it this week, man. I'm just fucking.
Well, we're at 2 hours. So
okay, so this is the
don't
end.
go
this
deep.
Is the end. This is the end. So the other thing that is different in World of Warcraft Classic and Vanilla is that there is only one viable raiding tank spec, except for Druid tanks could work as off tanks for a different reason, because they can. I forget why, but Druid off tanks were somewhat more common than not. But tanks were always going to be warriors, because threat generation was very difficult in vanilla. So that's a thing that you don't see anymore in World of Warcraft, like dealing with threat, which is basically, just to break it down for people. So you have a big fucking monster that you're all attacking, and that you want that monster to only be focusing on the tank. So, which is the main attacking warrior. So it's just damaging the tank. It does some AoE stuff, because that's what they do, or they'll move and do a cleave in a direction. So everyone's got to move the raid in one direction. You dance around. It's the whole thing, but they want to focus mainly on a tank. And then some will have abilities where they'll have stacking debuffs, where you'll have to switch between two tanks, and that's a thing that you would have to work on in practice. But mostly, you'd have to have a tank. And the way that they were able to keep the boss's attention was a thing called threat. And warriors are the only class, with the exception of pets, and I think the druids minimally, and shamans actually have an attack that increases their threat. But shamans don't tank. They originally meant to be like when they built the game, they were thinking shamans could be a tanking class, but then they kind of scrapped it, but they left some spells in that generate threat. But they only wear mail, so they get fucking annihilated. They don't wear plate armor. So anyway, warriors are like the only viable tanking, because they have threat generation. They have Sunder Armor, which generates threat. They have the Demoralizing Shout, which it's one of the shouts generates threat. That. So you would actually, a big part of raiding would be, you would have a threat table that was an add-on that you would need that would tell you where your threat level is based on the damage you've done to the boss. And it would take the data from the rest of the raid, pull it from the data in the game. And so you would have situations where mages were great, but they didn't have a threat dump. So they didn't have a way to lose threat, basically, other than just slowing down your button presses so that the warrior's able to keep up on threat. Hunters were great for DPS because they had Feign Death, which would completely wipe your threat table. So you could just fucking go balls out, get close to pulling threat away from the boss, and then Feign Death and go back to zero. Yep. I think Warlocks also have a threat dump, possibly. But I don't think that they do. They just don't generate as much threat.
Does that clear threat?
Nah. Rogues have a threat dump with Vanish, which takes them out of combat. So they were really good. Warriors didn't have a threat dump as much. So any class that didn't have a threat dump would always have to keep an eye on the threat, and then you'd have to auto attack for a little while and let your threat go down. But it's actually kind of a really cool mechanic. But the reason why it's so important is that if you had a paladin, you'll see videos of people doing paladin tanks just for fun. Once you have Molten Core on fucking farm status. But the problem is they just don't generate enough threat, so they get threat pulled away too easy, and you won't be able to DPS fast enough because you're going slower. That the bosses will kill you because they have an enrage timer at like 8 seconds or 8 minutes or something, which makes them do like triple damage and just kills everybody in like 2 seconds. So it's just so that's the thing. So if you want a tank, you have to be a warrior. That's the only thing. Vanilla, but if you want to do damage, you can still be a warrior because they're the number 1 DPS spec in vanilla WoW.
Berserker warrior, right?
Fury warrior, but
Fury,
actually, but also arms actually is better technically. But arms is extremely item dependent. So Fury was good with whatever you had, but as soon as you got like an epic 2-hander, arms was better. Because you could spec into a certain. So with arms tree, God, I'm getting into the weeds here. But in the arms tree, you would choose which weapon you wanted to have like 10% extra damage in, or 10% more skill in. So you're doing less glancing blows and doing more full damage attacks. I can't remember exactly, but that would be what you would do. So once you got your like epic axe, or your epic sword, or your epic mace 2-hander. You would spec into that in the arms tree and you'd be doing more damage. So it kind of is a situational. But the thing is, the differences are so little. Like, you play the way you want. Like, you can optimize, but honestly, it'll be up to your guild at that point. Mages are pretty much a free-for-all. You have to be a frost mage, though, in Molten Core, because everything has fire resistance, because you're in a fucking volcano. But that's fine, because frost did awesome DPS. So, yeah, but that's the thing, It's not that restrictive. It's just that only warriors can tank. And if you're going to be a class that can heal, that's probably what you're going to have to do in raids because they're not great at anything else but healing usually. Yeah. I hope one thing that they do add to WoW Classic, and maybe they'll tweak that, is allowing for multi specking, or maybe removing the cost of respecking, because you used to have to pay a cost of like 10 gold to switch between specs after you do it so many times, because it would go up each time. I hope that they remove that, because that was kind of annoying. Because then at the very least, if you're a warrior, who wants to do DPS but they need you to tank and you can do it, you could just, all right, let me go back to Orgrimmar, let me respec and click all the talents out, and then I'll come back. But then it was like, oh, it's going to cost 10 gold for me to do this, like, fuck. So hopefully maybe they change that. It sounds like they're going to do little tweaks. So maybe there'll be little changes that are kind of universally like, okay, this is not really beneficial to making the game quality higher. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like making respecking more punishing doesn't make the game better, It just makes you mad, because you can do it. You still need 2 sets of gear. You'll need your tanking gear and your DPS gear. Anyway. All right, I think I've gotten to the weeds enough about WoW Classic. Anyone else got a thing? Let's end on something fun. What's up? What's fun? I don't even have the document up. This is completely off talk. No one's going to want to listen to this podcast. No one's going to want to listen to this podcast because I talk about WoW the entire time.
Well, I know a certain subreddit you could post this podcast on. That might
I am not posting this on there.
Do it!
All they're going to do is downvote it to hell and then point out all of the parts where I'm definitely wrong about some of the stuff I
Well, it doesn't matter if they downvote
Matt's
it. What's the worst that could happen?
Matt's talking about our subreddit.
Oh, yeah. Let's post
Yeah.
our subreddit. Yeah.
r/born in the 80s.
Yeah.
Also, r/rimjobsteve is where we post a bunch.
Yeah.
Do we have a quick bite answers?
He probably didn't have one ready.
No, because I like doing it like near the end of things, and something just finished, and I'm playing with something right now, and well, let's just say I've got some cool things going on right now here in front of me.
Can I just mention my sadness that is the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to be in the finals?
No, is that soccer?
It's basketball. They lost to the Raptors. They won the first two. They annihilated them in the first two games. And then they...
Well, you should have known that they would have lost to the Raptors.
lost
We did a
4
whole thing about it on a couple of episodes
That's true, you're
ago.
right. I mean, a Velociraptor versus a deer, I think we know who's winning that fight.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just... it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Toronto's a fucking great team. God, it pisses me off, though. We had the best record. The Bucks hadn't lost a fucking back-to-back game, like, all season. They never lost more than 2 in a row. And then they lose 4 in a fucking row in the finals, or in the Western Conference Finals, or Eastern Conference Finals. It's all right. Next year, we won't have the same team, and we won't be as good, so fucking A. But Raptors are going to lose to the Golden State Warriors, so who the fuck cares? We would have lost to them, too. Anyway. All right.
All right, do we want to kill it? Put
I was just waiting.
Put it out
Well,
of its misery?
I was vamping to give TJ some time to give us one.
Oh no, I've had something else up.
He's got his own
something
shit
else was
going on,
finished.
John. It's not all about you. Come on.
My timer ended,
Wink.
so I was messing with stuff the past 10 minutes.
Definitely doing
And I finally got it to
completely
work.
illegal things that are not subverting.
But I could probably pull something up in about 3 seconds. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Not that one about mental health. That's what I read on a daily. So no. Okay, here we go. Open a new window, please, so I don't screw this up.
All
right.
TJ, I gave you all this time to vamp me, and I even... Okay.
I had a program open that was completely taking one of my monitors away.
Yep.
It was Cookie Clicker.
All right. It was Cookie Clicker. The title here is Most of My Boyfriend's Friends Are Girls.
Oh,
Most
boy.
Okay.
Apparently it's a question. I don't want to feel insecure, and I really do trust him.
Oh,
but
boy.
I can't help but get a little jealous. I compare myself to all of his friends like, oh, she's prettier than me. Oh, he probably likes her more than me. And it's stupid, but I don't know what to do about it. Any advice?
Okay, so let's get this. This guy, or this lady, has a boyfriend who has a lot of women friends.
Yep.
All right. Matt, do you want to tell him or tell her, or do I have to tell her?
So, I do a weekly burlesque show
Uh-huh.
that happens
Yep.
to. I mean, it's at a gay bar.
Uh-huh.
Fair
So-
enough. Can you have Mercury back on the podcast?
That's
I
racist.
don't think that's gonna happen.
Why not?
I know.
But man, he's probably a real good bachelor, huh? That guy, real good,
What?
confirmed bachelor.
Who? The man that she's talking about here?
Yeah.
All right. Since Matt's not going to come out and say it, I'm going to say it that, this is you versus the girl that he told you not to worry about. I'm just saying, knowing straight guys as I was a straight guy, like, once I had a girlfriend, I kind of stopped hanging out with other girls as much. I still had a lot of friends that were girls, but didn't hang out with them as much, I guess. You know? I'm not saying that he definitely is going to cheat on you, but
That is not what I thought you were setting me up for.
I think that I would be more worried. Just being honest and realistic, unless you're fucking married, you know? Depending on your age group as well, because if we're talking about someone who's like in high school, yeah, I'd worry. Talking about somebody who's like 35, okay, maybe. You know.
But what if
What did
all
you
of
think
his
I was gonna
friends
say?
are late 40s?
Okay, so this is a high school boy who hangs out with 40-year-old moms.
Yep.
and we're using. She's using the term "girls." I'm really imagining that her age range is between
I'm assuming
15 and 25.
Yes, this is definitely someone in high school or college. So I'm gonna say, watch your back. I'm just saying, like, how long have they been dating? Like, is this like we've been going together for 4 years? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, we've been dating for a couple months, and he's still hanging out with all these other girls. I'm not saying you have to worry because it's really up to the guy to not cheat on you, and he
I
probably
think
won't.
she's going to have to best all of them in combat.
Yes. So he has 8 exes.
Oh,
Or how many? Was it 13? What was the number?
5,000.
7 evil exes.
There's 7 evil exes that she's going to have to defeat in combat. And then he is going to pick... No, he picked her at the end. But, people wanted him to be with Knives. But
Yeah,
I
Knives
disagree.
really got, like, screwed over in that whole
She
thing.
didn't, though. People talk about that. She didn't get screwed over because what she learned was she was too fucking good for Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim is a shitty boyfriend.
And that's kind of the whole point of the series.
Yeah.
Is that he's kind of a shitty boyfriend, and he
He-
learns that in the end. He defeats himself and is like, I can be better. And then he's like, I'm going to be with Ramona because obviously we're in love, and I fucking fought all these people, and now I'm going to be a better boyfriend. And Knives is like, you know what? I've grown up a little bit too, and I'm going to be with someone else because
Yes,
I'm
the-
awesome.
The original ending with Knives as the pick is the wrong pick. Even though she is the better girl, it would be bad for her to be with him. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, that's the reason why Mike O'Malley didn't do it. I mean, it was he said he wanted that. If you
Yeah.
read the comics, it's not that, but that was what he was going
it's
to
not.
do. He
Yeah.
chose to go with Ramona in the end because it makes more sense. He dumped her because he's dating a fucking 22-year-old dating a 17-year-old. It didn't work. They're a little bit too different. She was just enamored with him, and then that's what she learned. Is that she was kind of in love with him and he didn't love her back, and that's just how it goes. Like it's a shitty way that relationships are. So you got all this in there, right?
Yeah, of course.
All the
Especially
Scott
the evil
Pilgrim
X part.
stuff and the...
All the Scott Pilgrim references.
So John, what I thought you were setting me up for was this guy has a ton of female friends. He must be gay.
Oh, also a possibility, but I wasn't going to go there because that's racist.
I don't think that's what race means.
I don't know. I'm reading the end of Scott. God, these are so good.
I need to read the graphic novels again.
I don't know how to read.
No, Knives. I think
There's lots of
Knives
pictures.
ends up with young Neil. I think, who's much more her age group.
Which makes sense in the perspective of the comics, but she was just using him in the movie.
Oh, to get back.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the way the comics were at the start, but then she's kind of like, oh.
I mean, I know Steven Stills ends up gay, but that's a whole different thing.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think Knives actually moves away for college, and actually
Probably.
isn't with them.
Well, no, because they.
I'm like
'cause
reading it as we go.
when Ramona disappears at the end of book 5, Scott is in a funk. He's like playing Monster Hunter Portable on the PSP forever, and everyone's like, "You need to just get over this and just hook up with someone." And then that's the only thing that's in his mind, and he even offers it to Knives, and Knives is like, "I don't want to do the hooking up." It's like, "You just want to make up for a while? Cool." And then they don't like it, and they just decide, yeah, that was weird. Let's not do it anymore.
Yeah.
That was where it was at the end of book 6, or at the beginning of book 6.
No, you're right. You're right. He at the end, she's kind of like, "Hey, I'm gonna miss you, Scott. Let's be friends."
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just
this just doesn't work.
it's a high school relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like people
Even-
are like, "Oh, he's such a shitty boyfriend." It's like, yeah, but like, dude, he's fucking 20. Like
He's 22.
22.
He's end of college
You're
age,
right.
and she's like 17.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, he dated her because he was bored and she was cute, and they
Yep.
both like video games.
It was a convenience thing. He could feel. It was almost a power move without it being Yeah. Anyway,
It's also
Anyway.
possible that Michael Cera's character was in a state of Arrested Development.
I still, to this day, think that Jesse Eisenberg could have played the more cocky Scott Pilgrim better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have
Yeah,
been a
like
better
Michael Cera
movie.
just does his Michael Cera thing all the time.
Yeah.
I think Jesse
Yeah.
Eisenberg is more versatile as an actor.
I just want to mention I opened this
Yeah.
again. You know, people like these books are fucking amazing.
Yes, they
The
are.
art is so good in these. Like, anyway, yeah. Brian O'Malley's art is amazing, and
Yep.
the comics. And if you really like the movie, these are fucking amazing because it's
Yes,
just
they
like
are.
it's like the exact plot of the movie with some small changes, but just a lot more like time. Like,
Doesn't Scott have basically a samurai battle with Knives' dad in
I
book
can't
3?
remember.
That's racist.
And also the fight between Knives and Ramona happens in a mall.
Yeah. But like
okay.
the art in these is just so fucking good.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna read these again now that I'm talking about them.
So, TJ, can you sum up our answer to this question?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell her to read Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, 100%. So we're not saying that he's cheating on you, but the potential is there if he is spending a significant amount of time with them. Put that out to him. If he attempts to deflect, there is probably some skeeziness going on, or that he wants to happen.
Yeah.
You need to do what's best for you, whether with him or not.
Yeah. Whoa,
Keep it
you
simple.
went maybe too hard on that, I think.
No, that's true, though. Like,
No, I would say
lot
it's
of-
possible. Just be open with your concerns.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if he's like, oh, you're right, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, it's not like that. That's probably fine. But if he's just like gets
Yeah.
defensive and angry, then
That's
you
the point,
probably
yeah.
have a problem.
Yeah.
If
but I
he's just,
definitely
And-
wouldn't mince words when it comes to you need to look after yourself, regardless of what his whole
Yeah.
situation is.
well, like don't be like the too pushy for his time and like kind of too needy. But also, you just kind of have to be like, I just need to be reassured. You know what I mean? Just
Exactly.
You know, you need to know that I have this fear of you, and you need to prove to me
Yeah.
that why it's not a fear. That's it.
Yeah.
However
If he
you do
attempts
that.
to deflect, there's definitely some
Yeah.
desire there, or
Oh, yeah.
something is happening. He's not going to deflect if he is secretly gay and he's
Yeah.
using her as a beard, though. I don't think so.
He'll just come after her at that point.
Probably.
You figured it out.
I'm not going to put that in there, but
I mean, just
All right.
say, also ask him what he thinks about Chris Evans.
if he spends it if he spends a large amount of time talking about his thighs, I think,
That is America's butt.
This is going straight to
Yes.
my thighs.
I think that might be offensive. I'm not sure.
I was just trying to do a Harvey Firestein voice.
Firestein? Harvey Firestick? What?
Harvey Firestein.
What a great voice.
Do you guys not know Harvey Firestein?
You're gonna love.
You know
the
what
way
I'm
you
doing?
look.
I'm doing an impression of a person. I'm not doing a parody of a gay person. This is literally one
No,
gay
he
person. with a very
was
unique
the
voice.
like the gay brother on Mrs. Doubtfire, right? That
Well, he was
had
one
all
of
the
the
makeup tech.
hairstylists. Yeah.
yeah.
He's a very famous gay actor.
He's got a very smoky voice,
He does have
which
a
is
very
ironic
gravelly
because
voice.
his name is Firestein.
I know.
You're gonna
So
like
I'll
the way
post
you
I
it.
love Harvey Firestein. Oh, sorry.
There's another answer to this that
He's a
already
voice
has
actor.
a thumbs down, and it just says, "There's someone out there for you, honey," which
What?
I really hate.
How's that
terms of
answering a
endearment.
question?
It's not.
It's
I
not.
hate terms of endearment like that. Honey, sweetie, sweetheart. Those make
Oh,
me
yeah.
so uncomfortable.
Scrumble muffin.
I like Scrumble Muffin. I love Scrumble Muffin. TJ Scrumble Muffin May. I'll put that on my Twitch stream.
Scrabbling beard.
Scrabble Master.
Scrabble master. There's someone out for you, Scrabble master.
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh no, that sounds like a threat. There's someone out for you.
Yeah. There's a ball and chain. It's gonna be latched to you.
There's a bounty on your head.
My wife's a
But it's a
real
chomp chomp.
nag.
My wife, the old ball and chain, she's actually a chomp chomp.
She's actually Chompette.
Chompette.
All right, let's look up Chompette again.
Rule 34.
Oh, yep.
I'm not looking up Rule 34 Chompette. Just give me some safe
Well,
word
that'll
Chompette.
happen after the podcast is done.
So Chompette's either terrifying or hot.
What's the difference, really?
That's true. They're kind of
Dominatrix.
both the same thing.
Yep.
Well, sometimes she looks a little bit too much like a weird monster with spike teeth. And sometimes she's just like an anime lady in a black dress. And
With spike teeth.
with no spike teeth. But she is wearing a chain around her neck.
That's where Bouzette kind of really fills that niche for me. I've always liked the shy ones in the animes.
All I'm saying is that Chompette is fine. She's a real sub woman, you know, and that's her.
She's a
her
dom
kink.
woman.
She's not
I'm
dom.
real-
She's chained up.
Yeah. I'm really into blue power switchette.
Blue power
Wait,
switch it.
is there a blue?
I really hope that.
Please tell me there is.
No, because like now Bowsette, now that is a dom. Because you know she'll subjugate you and make you part of her army.
Oh, you made me excited for nothing, Matt. Thanks a lot.
What
Blue
about
power switch et.
what's the guy in the cloud, Lackey or something?
Lakitu.
Et.
Lucky Tuet?
Yeah.
Lucky Tet?
We've got to end this podcast.
Yes.
Oh, Lakitu et exists.
Yes, and I've got some not
Woo!
safe for work pictures.
Some hot Lakitu ets here. I like
Hope
it.
my kids are sleeping.
This one's blurred. So let me open that one.
Not on Bing. Not on Bing.
That's not even. There's no sex in that. Why is that? What was that image blurred?
I guess that depends on your definition of sex.
I mean, it was just a lady in an outfit. No nudity. Here's a farting Lucky Tuet. That's a fetish. You can find me at John_Danger on the Hell website, twitter.com. All opinions on this podcast are my own.
And his
Yes,
works.
all of them.
Well,
Even
all
my
of my
opinions
opinions
are his
on
own.
this podcast are my own.
You
Where's
can
the
find,
website?
I'm not on Twitter anymore because it's garbage. So you can find me at Instagram / Matt Haig Music, I guess, and MattHaigMusic.com.
Let me just look up some more comic at.
And I'm May of May. Now, our website is bornintheeighties.net, but come hang out with us over on the Discord. That's YOLO420.com/bornintheeighties. We post lots of weird stuff. And please DM me your Bowsette pics. I will take those all day long.
DM me your Magic
Endgame
Pet
spoilers and Bowsette picks.
cosplay.
You can do that on Twitter at May of May 84. Do that on our Discord. Or just hang out with me on Twitch. Just don't put links. I don't trust your links in my Twitch. Please don't.
Can I tell you, fuck you, Nintendo, for saying fucking Bowsette and all that shit isn't real? You know what?
Mario's not
believe it.
real.
No, they fucking made that goddamn fucking crown that made Toadette, and they're like, it only makes Toad Lady into Toadette.
Can you? I don't think
Or
you can
Toadette
trust
into
them.
You mean
Princess.
Toadette?
I heard Nintendo was
into
headed
Peach.
by somebody named Bowser, and I don't trust them at all.
So they make. Yeah, that's true, actually. Can we talk about the fucking.
No,
awesome
we
social
can't talk
media?
about anything. It's the end of the show.
All I'm saying is that Reggie Fils-Aimé left, or Fils-Aimé left, or however the fuck you pronounce it.
Fils-Aimé.
Fils-Aimé, thank you.
My
Left,
old friend with JJ.
and fucking the guy who took over the company was named Bowser, and then the tweet that he mentioned that he was taking over, he had a plush Bowser on his table, and then a Mario and Luigi plush that were wrapped up in ropes on the table in the background.
Yeah, and he
That
was
was a
wearing that
gift to him.
spiky black collar from the Bowsette fan art, and it was really disturbing.
But
If I
anyway,
remember correctly, the story is that was a gift given to him when he became the CFO.
oh nice.
Way back
Let
when.
Bouzette be real, fuck's sake.
Bouzette, yeah.
Still real to me, damn it.
Bye-bye,
fucking-
everybody.
Bowsette for life.